think looks like we have everybody here. See their names at least. Are we ready for the clerk to call roll?
Do you want me to take roll, David?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Arenas? Arenas? Corrales?
Here.
Esparza?
Here.
Esparza? Thank you. Cohen?
Here.
And Davis?
Here, and our other committee member is Pam Foley.
And I'm here too. Sorry.
Arenas is not on the is not on this committee.
Oh, okay.
Hi, this is Tony, City Clerk. I'm training Yasmin, and I forgot to tell her that we have an issue with the agenda that had the wrong name on it.
My apologies. Sorry about that.
Sorry.
Thank you. All right, and I appreciate that call to order. Before we review the work plan, Councilmember Perales has an announcement about the downtown transportation plan. Councilmember Perales?
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. So in the fall of 2020, Department of Transportation hosted a logo contest to involve local artists in helping create a logo for the downtown transportation plan. And this is a community-driven plan that aims to improve getting around by foot, bike, car, and taking transit. Improve transportation equity and access to places for everybody, and improve the comfort and enjoyment of streets, public plazas, paseos, and parks. And to be eligible, entrants needed to be 18 years or older, residents of Santa Clara County, and enrolled full or part-time in a post-secondary institution. 12 entries were received and reviewed by a panel made up of the Department of Transportation's community engagement team and local community-based organization partners. And I'm happy to announce that the winner was Katarina Nguyen Mai, a graphic design student at San Jose State University and an active member within the Vietnamese community. She was awarded first prize of $700, and the three runners-up were each awarded $100 for their efforts. Katarina took inspiration from San Pedro Street and created a clean logo that embodies safety and clean streets while making it feel inviting and safe with bright colors. She also included images of accessibility, mode shift, and walkability to highlight the dynamics of the plan. I know she could not be here with us today because she has class, but we wanted to take the opportunity to wish her congratulations and thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have an image of the winning logo?
I have it that I'm looking at. I don't, if nobody else has it, I could.
Can you share the screen?
Oh, there we go.
All right. Thank you. And congratulations to Katarina. Thank you, Councilmember Perales.
Thank you.
There are no items on our review of work plan, no items on the consent calendar, so we will go to item D, reports to committee. And the first one, D1, is status report on deferred maintenance and infrastructure backlog. And I have a lot of names for presenters. Who is going to take it away? Mike O'Connell? Nicole Burnham? I'm not sure who's starting the presentation.
I think it's going to be Matthew Nguyen from Public Works.
Matthew.
His name somewhere?
Yes. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, my name is Matthew Nguyen. I'm a division manager for the Transportation and Hydraulics Division in Public Works. So I'm going to share my screen real quick. All right. So this year, oops. So this report basically is a continuous effort of an ongoing effort to, staff try to put together a total number of the backlog in the city to present to everybody. The data that we have basically is based on previous year reports. And also we try to update the information as we go. should be noted that the very first report that we put together was in 2007, and the total backlog at that time was around $900 million. And throughout the years, we continue to quantify the asset, and also we try to identify and also document any unfunded need through the year, and we try to report it out at the end of the year. We continue to refine and clarify the data for accuracy, and it can be done through condition assessment, through master planning, or also through life cycle analysis. And then along the way, we also develop a strategy to figure out how to find funding to support our programs or to keep the backlog from growing if possible. Several years ago, we focused on pavement and transportation. And recently, we also expand our focus in the facility and the port facilities areas. So I should mention about the impact of Measure T. So in 2018, the city approved Measure T, where we received some funding to support our programs. Throughout the years, the backlog has been growing from $900 million to now about now it's about $1.7 billion. Measure T did put some slowdown on the growth, and we can see that there was some major reduction in the backlog. For example, in the transportation areas, on the pavement, roadway, bridges, street light, we see some reduction in the backlog. Also, we see reduction in the backlog in the storm sewer, as well as other areas like a bridge or facility lighting. So this table is showing the total backlog in the city. As mentioned before, we are seeing a one-time backlog of $1.7 billion. And also on top of that, we are seeing a $93 million of an annual ongoing needs. The backlog for most of the programs are growing or increasing through the years. However, the transportation and areas, transportation and and sanitary sewer, we see a slight drop in the backlog. So that's a good news. And some of that is because of the Measure T impact. This is another way to look at the backlog, the total backlog in the city. And as you can see on the chart down below, from left to right, we are seeing a backlog of $230 million in building facilities. Also, we are seeing $260 million backlog in park, pool, and open space. And in storm sewer, we have $180 million backlog. And last but not least is transportation and transportation infrastructure. We are seeing a total backlog of $845 million. So in the next few slides, we're going to talk about these areas with a larger backlog number. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Walter Lin with Public Works to talk about building facilities.
Great. Thank you so much, Matthew. Good afternoon, Council Member and Chair Davis and members of the Transportation and Environment Committee. I'm Walter Lin. I'm the Deputy Director in Public Works. I manage the facilities, fleet, and radio communication services for the city. As Matthew mentioned, within our building facilities, with the aging infrastructure and the aging systems, we do have quite a bit of backlog. We have over 400 buildings within the city's inventory, equating to about 5 million square feet. Of that, we've broken down some of the major categories of facilities and their backlog costs. We've estimated for the parks facilities at $164 million, the Team San Jose facilities at $67.5 million, Team San Jose, as you know, formerly the convention facilities, those consist of the California Theater, Center for Performing Arts, the Civic Auditorium, Montgomery Theater, Convention Center, and South Hall. The police facilities, including the Police Administration Building, the Communications Building, and the substation at 15 million. City Hall, even though still a relatively younger building, there's been quite a bit of wear and tear on the building structure and the building systems at 7.3 million. The fire facilities at $9 million. Our cultural facilities have increased at 17.8 million. The cultural facilities consist of the Children's Discovery Museum, the Tech Museum, History San Jose facilities and the structures within that campus, the Museum of Art, Hammer Theater, and the Mexican Heritage Plaza. For our library sites, including the MLK main branch, we are just under $33 million in costs for deferred maintenance. And the last bullet point, the ACS, that's our Animal Care Services facility on Monterey Road. We're estimating the needs there at 2.7 million. Our next slide here shows the different types of building systems, the infrastructure that has been, that are in need in either repair or major replacement. The roofing structures, outdoor lighting. With Measure T, we are accommodating much of the exterior building lighting and parking lot lighting. However, we don't have enough to cover the exterior inventory, and we're looking at strategies to complete that work. Our elevator systems, they are aging. Whether it is the cabs themselves, the infrastructure, or the programming and the software control system that manages the elevator systems. Our plumbing systems and electrical systems as well. For emergency generators, for our critical and essential facilities, we do have backup generation, but not for all. And that is something that we are looking at in terms of the public safety power shutdowns or any other unannounced or unplanned power emergencies. To really bring power sources to those facilities to ensure the continuity of those operations. The exterior shell and HVAC systems, also larger systems that can be quite costly for major replacement. Life safety systems, such as the fire alarm system, is something that we are monitoring and replacing as we need. Solar systems are in place for several of our different facilities. Most of them are under power agreements. But there are some that are city owned as well. And there is an O&M component to those solar systems that we need to account for. Plaza spaces, pavement, hardscapes within the different campuses of our facilities are subject to wear and tear. And then the interior shell components as well are things that we are monitoring and managing for that maintenance. With that, I'd like to transition the presentation to Nicole Burnham from our Parks Department to go through their facilities.
Thanks, Walter. I'm Nicole Burnham, a Deputy Director in the Department of Parks, Recreation, and Neighborhood Services. To recap, I know all of you know this and kind of live and breathe in your parks, literally and figuratively. There's a lot that happens in these assets. We have a lot of them across the city. We're up to 209 with at least another half dozen in development. And with those come a number of assets that need to be maintained on a regular basis: basketball hoops, tennis courts, fitness areas. You have a general idea of that. We are at 61 miles of paved trails, which include, a number of pavement maintenance needs, as well as bridges, right? As they run along creeks, they sometimes run over them. Skate parks, BMX parks. We have 6 swimming pools in the city. A large number of playgrounds. And then we also have Family Camp and Happy Hollow Park and Zoo, are kind of unique and important assets that are in our inventory. So all of these roll up into the infrastructure backlog numbers that are on the next slide. So for this year, we are evaluating our overall backlog just within parks at about 260 million. This is actually an increase of about 25 million over last year. My team has been working on splitting these apart, right? We've been trying to, park grounds and regional facilities are really broad categories that were established when our initial backlog was created in 2013. So we've been working on diving into the details of that a little bit more and understanding, how much of that is related to pools and playgrounds. We had set our eyes on getting a fair amount of that done this year, and COVID sort of derailed us from being able to get as much done there as we wanted. We did do some great things like looking at pavement management on trails, still in quality control check. So there's more coming and more detail we can put on this. And then add to that 260 million, 163 million, or almost 164 that are included in the building assets that, that Walter mentioned earlier, gets us to a total park increase or infrastructure backlog of about 424 million at the present time. And so with that, I can turn it over to, I think Matthew is doing stormwater.
Yes, thank you, Nicole. So in the storm sewer program, the city of San Jose, we complete the master plan phase 1 in 2017, where we evaluate our storm sewer system and see how it performed under a 10-year storm. And the outcome of that study showed that we have about 22 projects and at the total cost of $215 million. With the support from Measure T, we receive a funding of $35 million to improve the drainage in one of the drainage area in North San Jose, namely the Chacot area. So that brought the total backlog down to $180 million. And also throughout the years, we've been receiving a funding transfer from the sewer service charge. We have enough funding to cover the ongoing master planning and condition assessment. And also we focus on neighborhood improvement, some system improvement, and pump station repair and rehabilitation. However, one area of concern is on the outfalls. We have a large number of outfalls in the city. And throughout last year, we found that we have about 335 outfalls that need some kind of repair and rehabilitation in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's the reason why we put in that $5 million of annual ongoing needs under the storm sewers program. And with that, I'm gonna transfer it to the next slide. Rick Scott with DOT will present this.
Thank you, Matthew. Good afternoon, committee. My name is Rick Scott, DOT Deputy Director with direct responsibility for infrastructure maintenance. The purpose of this slide is to demonstrate the scale and scope of maintenance responsibility for the DOT maintenance teams. And I won't read off all the numbers as they are in the report, but just generally, if you can see it, and sometimes even if you can't, as is the case for our sewer pipes, our maintenance workers, engineers, and inspectors probably have some involvement on their maintenance. And this includes street trees and sidewalks in which property owners bear primary responsibility, but we collaborate with them to facilitate the repairs. As you can see, the transportation infrastructure is vast. Slide, please. So overall, as Matthew mentioned early on, 2020 was a very good year for the transportation maintenance backlog. Our one-time backlog decreased by $26.3 million, driven by increased pavement and ADA ramp maintenance. You can see if you compare this to last year, pretty steep declines in both of those categories. The areas in green in particular are areas in which local Measure T is a funding source. And so the calculations you see on this spreadsheet have accounted for those funds. We expect to see continued improvement in the coming years, driven largely by pavement maintenance work and our ADA ramp work. And the ADA ramp work. Slide. So typically this presentation precedes the pavement presentation by about a month. So the following few slides serve as a preview, but since we're rolling into that presentation, I'll just briefly say here that the condition of our street network has improved. The maintenance backlog has decreased, and this is a typo on the presentation, so I apologize for that. And due to the work that we've done and that we've planned, the projected 10-year cost to improve our network to good, which is a PCI of 70, which I'll explain in the next presentation, has also decreased, leaving this program a very small $2 million annual funding shortfall, where it had exceeded about $50 million just about 4 to 5 years ago. Slide, please. So here's just some photographic examples of streets in the varying categories of our city. So PCI stands for Pavement Condition Index, which is a number ranging from 0 to 100, with 100 being a brand new street. To provide a best assessment as to the condition of the street, you can see kind of the varying categories here, but for reference, Lava Drive on the right sits at 67, which is our current citywide average. Thank you for your time. And with that, the presenters and additional staff are available for your questions.
Thank you. We have a couple of members of the public who want to speak, so we will go to them first. Blair?
Hi, thank you. Blair Beekman here. I've got a bad frog in my throat this week. Hope you can be patient with it. Thank you. There's technology deployment items that were just that are talked about within the memo of this item. I thought it could be appropriate to once again try to mention the ideas of with broadband, with 4 and 5G, there is an important need for a good notification process, and that needs to be clear and open. And the city of San Jose knows how to coordinate that with the telecom companies like Verizon. The Verizon is technically in charge to make sure those notifications are above standard and clear and understandable. And it's important that San Jose city government work to coordinate to make sure of that. And I just wanted to offer that here and offer that as everyday community, if you need the choice to want to appeal, to work with a neighborhood group or yourself, you do have that option to appeal the 4 and 5G process and to question it. Thanks a lot for your time, and thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Paul Soto. Paul, are you there?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes, you went now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you, Councilwoman Davis. These reports predate the Racial Equity Office, the institution of its office. So what I'd like to know is, where is the reports of racial equity with respect to the allocation of resources within these departments? I think this is a good time and a good place to start really exercising this atrophied equity lens that we are trying to institute within the context of allocation of resources and city government. PRNS has been the primary beneficiary of a lot of the largesse that was accumulated as a result of the redlining policies and the discriminatory practices and the restrictive covenants with respect to parks, with respect to infrastructure. And I think last year, both myself and Councilman Perales had pointed out that if you got a redlining map and you put it over the infrastructures, that the horseshoe was one of the last areas on that list that you guys had in front of you that was going to get their streets paved. Whereas the other parts on the other side of the tracks, however, well, I think we all know what the story is there. And that's a problem, because we do know what the story is there. We're actually aware of what the story is there. And so I'd really like to see what that looks like. Another thing is that I would like to extend my gratitude for Councilwoman Esparza's work within the hate crimes unit. I'm sorry that this was, it was something that happened very personal to you, that compelled your spearheading this project. I know you would do it without it, but I'm just sorry that within the context of addressing those issues, that you and your family are continuing to suffer a significant loss. So I just wanted to extend that to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Turning back to the committee. Does anyone have questions for our presenters? Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, just one question. I know that obviously we put a lot of resources, especially on Measure T, into trying to get down this backlog. But obviously, as you do the work, things begin to age immediately, right? And then they begin to get into the backlog again. Just using the pavement projects as an example, how long? What is the lifetime of the paving before we expect? I mean, if we had an ideal world and we were repaving as necessary, what is the lifespan that we would expect out of the paving projects before a road becomes in the backlog, moved back into the backlog?
Thanks for the question, Councilmember. That's a really good one, because backlog is one of those words, especially with pavement, that can mean a lot of different things. For the sake, at least on the pavement side, really functionally, kind of with the conditions where we are, if you resurface a roadway where you're kind of grinding everything up and then repaving right afterwards, the street can last for quite a long time. Probably 20 years or so, but it deteriorates on a curve that accelerates as things kind of get worse. And so ideally what you're doing is you're paving, doing your big resurfacing project, and then just like, say, your fence or something like that, you reseal it, you revarnish it every couple of years. So, I think the ideal, and we have Frank Farshidi on as well, who can help explain if I've missed anything, but ideally we're resurfacing, and then you're kind of coming in and sealing maybe about 8 years later, providing preventive maintenance. And you can make a street last on that cycle where you're preventively maintaining it every couple of years for a very long time without having to actually resurface it. So that's kind of the end state we're trying to get to. There's never going to be a zero on the backlog, because you always need to do some work to kind of keep the streets in fair condition. But I think that pretty much explains it. But if I need to clarify anything for you, please let me know.
Yeah, I was just curious. I mean, it's the same thing with all of our buildings, right? I mean, we went through a process with a bond, and we pretty much built or renovated every one of our libraries. And it's been less than 20 years, but we're at the point now where it seems like everything's new, because for all of us, we remember that. But 20 years is a long time for a building. So we're at the point where we have to pretty much renovate or at least freshen up all those buildings again. So we're in those cycles are continuous. So I guess it's just an interesting question about backlog seems like an interesting way of putting it to me. It's a continuous maintenance cost for any facility, I guess, is really the way it is. And the backlog grows where the maintenance infrastructure needs continue to grow with time, I guess, is really the way of thinking about it. But I guess I was just trying to articulate my thoughts about it, because I know that these numbers will never go to zero. I mean, it's not like, there's always a need to continually maintain things. It's not like we get to an end point, I guess, is kind of just the point I'm making. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Foley.
Thank you. Yeah, this is an interesting report, and we will always have deferred maintenance, because we're always just maybe using a Band-Aid to fix the problem when we need to solve it immediately, such as if we have a leaky roof, we're going to fix the roof, but we're not going to repair the roof or replace the roof, because that may take us, that's going to cost a lot more money, and we may not have the funds available for that time. So we fix the immediate problem, but we don't fix we don't complete the deferred maintenance, much like we do for our homes, right? We only do what we have to do to keep our house functioning, but we don't necessarily replace the heater. We may replace a component of it. I have a couple questions about the report, and it's because I don't really understand the terminology, but one regarding the storm sewer infrastructure, you use the term outfall. What is an outfall? I don't know what that means.
Yes, thank you for the question. The outfall, basically, if you look at the entire storm drain system, the rainwater will come down, hit the roadways. It drains toward an inlet, and from the inlet, that water will get into a storm collection system. So it's an underground pipe, and that pipe now will be interconnected together, and it get to the creek or the river. So the very end point of that pipe is called outfall. And we have to build it in the way that the water come out. It's not gonna erode the embankment. Otherwise, if the outfall is failing, then we might have water seeping around it, causing other damage to the embankment. And so that's why we have to maintain it. So it's the end of the pipe with a
it could also result in flooding, couldn't it, if there's problems with the outflow?
We
No?
have a few outfalls that has the flap gate at the end. So the purpose of the flap gate is to prevent when the water level in the creek raise higher than the invert of the outfall, then that flap gate will close up and prevent that water from going back to the system. Yeah, but it's not necessary. We always have to have that flap gate. So yes, the outfall with the flap gate will help prevent some backwater condition in certain water condition in the creek.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate that explanation. And then, Rick, I have a question for you regarding ADA curb ramps. We've been getting comments from residents that have, and I'm just trying to understand, I know that we're replacing a lot of our corners to make sure that they're ADA compliant, but some of our residents are telling us that their corners are already ADA compliant and we're out there doing another ADA compliance on that corner. Can you explain why that would be happening, or what's going on there where it has the curve? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So the ADA code changes. I wouldn't say frequently, but it does change, and maintenance has occurred over several generations in San Jose. So there are many, the no-brainers where there's definitely a curb ramp going in is where there's a ramp completely missing. And anytime we pave a street, typically you're going to see we're required to update the associated ADA ramps that run kind of parallel to that roadway to the most updated code. So we went through a very extensive consultant project 3 years ago now, I think, where we assessed the entire city and kind of saw where all the ADA ramps were. And we found, it's kind of mentioned in the report, we found that the majority of our ramps that were installed are not fully updated with the most recent code. So every time we actually do a substantial amount of maintenance, even if it looks like it's off by maybe, a couple of different, traits that make it not compliant, if we're going and paving that roadway, we have to update it to the most current code. So that's the standard. That's why we're doing an awful lot of curb ramp work. We're actually in the process of, I think everyone in the council is aware, we're working with a group right now to finalize an ADA transition plan that will result in having all of our ADA curb ramps up to the most valid code when the construction is performed by 2038. So that's the process that we're in right now.
Okay, but is that all corners?
Yes.
Have to be
Where a curb ramp should exist, if it doesn't exist and it's not fully up to code and we go through and pave the area, we have to update it to the most recent code.
Okay, is the homeowner responsible for any of that cost?
They should not be, no.
Okay.
Yeah, typically we manage that through our paving projects.
Okay, and can you give me an idea of what the current code is of ADA curbs? I mean, I ask, these are the kind of things we get questions from our residents. And they want to know what the difference is.
Yeah.
And it just helps us answer a question.
There are like, there are things like variables like cross slopes and, different kinds of things that would probably be difficult for me to define in this meeting, but I have Frank on the call too. I think we're happy to, after this, provide you with that so you can kind of take a look at the code. And maybe we can make sure we have an explainer for you so that it's straightforward and simple and you don't have to get into like the 12 traits and what the deviations are and stuff like that if a ramp is out of compliance.
Yeah,
that would be wonderful. I don't want to be a engineer who's trying to describe it to them.
I don't either.
Just a few points, that'd be great. That would be really helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's the end of my questions. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilmember Perales.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the report. Nice to get this every year, but it's daunting just obviously looking at the needs that we have throughout the city. But it is nice to have them summarized here. And I wanted to just channel what Paul Soto was saying. And it's not necessarily something that I would like to see incorporated into this report because this really is just the deferred maintenance and the infrastructure backlog. But I do think it's important that as we look at this and then we begin to create our spending plans, like as we have over the years now for pavement maintenance, but really all of this infrastructure backlog, that as we begin to look at the spending plans on how we're going to address the backlog, that we do begin to incorporate our Office of Race and Equity, and that we have that lens over it. I know that was the intent and the goal as we began that process and created that office anyways. And as they're up and running, I think it's reports like this that begin to set that framework for all the need that we have, but then we can add that layer in before we go out and simply just address it based on particular needs, assuming that it's an even playing field across the whole city. We look at it with that filter. And so that's it. I just wanted to echo that and channel that as staff is beginning to do this work. And I know we're tossing a lot over at our new office, but that's why we've created it and want to be able to utilize it to its maximum ability. And if we don't have a motion, I'll make a motion to accept the report.
Second.
Thank you. Appreciate those comments, Councilmember Perales. I have a question for Nicole, and I know I asked this last year, and I'm going to ask again because we've had a lost year. And so what is the timeline for building out the parks backlog estimate, all those missing boxes?
We did, like I said, we made some progress this year. And I think I can't answer it with a high degree of certainty right now. We did trails this year. So we did, we've got some more knowledge of pavement that's going through quality control. We've given more thought to playgrounds. We were hopeful that we were going to do pools, but I think we need to delay that another year for some work that we need to do at Happy Hollow instead. So I'm trying to, I'm constantly trying to balance like existing ongoing needs with kind of trying to do this study. So I think we just have to take it asset category by asset category. And it's going to take a few years. The other thing that we'll be working on more aggressively in this coming year is our building assets and trying to, work with Walter and his team to more clearly define our needs there. That's been an area we haven't been able to focus as much on as we'd like to. So I think those are I would say pools, playgrounds, and buildings are going to be our next, should be our next big categories, and trail. So I know we'll have trail report out next year, and we should have defined some refinement on buildings.
Thank you. And then I don't remember the answer to this question either, which I may have asked last year. When we have the infrastructure backlog in the memo and the annual ongoing unfunded needs, what we don't have in here, and I can't remember if it's in the text, is what is the annual funded amount for each of these items?
In the park specifically?
Not just in parks, but in the overall. So we have, the table on page 3, and it's not it's just called infrastructure backlog. So it's not a numbered table, and it's for every program starting from airport and going down to water utility. It has the one-time backlog and the change from 2020 to 2021 and the annual ongoing unfunded needs. So it gives the unfunded needs, but it doesn't give the amount annually that we spend on each of these items.
I believe.
Could I jump in on that, Rick? This is Mike O'Connell. I'm sorry. I joined you late. I think that's a good question, and this report has never tabulated that, but just from my own experience, I can tell you that the funding for the sanitary sewer program has been $32 million a year in, year out, and that is split between rehab and capacity and master planning. The storm capital budget floats around $9 million a year of investment. I'm sure DOT Rick can comment on his annual investment, but some of those investments are maybe a new facility and not necessarily something that is definitely decreasing the deferred maintenance infrastructure backlog. Rick, do you have anything to share with us?
I was just going to add that I know the table is a summary of what's contained in the report, and for example, like in the DOT section, in each of the respective maintenance categories, the funding level is specifically mentioned. So I do think most departments carried that throughout the report, and it's summarized in the first table.
Okay, so the amount that is actually spent annually to address these is in the report. I just have to, it's just not summarized in the table. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Councilmember Perales, your hand is still up. Did you have something else?
I'm sorry, no, I'll lower it.
Okay. All right, we have a motion to accept the report. Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Foley,
Aye.
Perales,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
and Davis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we will move on to item D2, and this is the pavement maintenance conditions funding and program delivery strategy. And Don.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember and committee. This is John Rissa, Director of Transportation. This is an infrastructure day, so what we're going to be talking about now is this next year's pavement report. Rick Scott, Deputy Director, will present that along with Frank Farshidi, our Division Manager. So I know there's a lot on this agenda, so why don't we just get started with the presentation. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, John. So for a very long time, I want to introduce myself again. For a very long time, the purpose of this presentation was to provide the council with an update on funding challenges and shortfalls and their expected negative effects on the condition of the city's most expensive asset, which is our street network. That all really began to change, first with the passage of Senate Bill 1 and VTA Measure B in 2016, the successful legal defense of Measure B in 2018, and then the passage of City Measure T in 2018. And what we see now is just a picture that's dramatically different from what it was even 2 years ago. So our focus now is delivering high quality projects efficiently and cost effectively throughout the city, and this presentation reflects that. I'd like to start the presentation by providing you with a report card, kind of, we do this every year, our state of the pavement maintenance network. So you could see kind of like a typical report card. You have your A and your B, those are good grades, C, which is kind of fair, and D and F, which are failing. So this year we're at 74% of our streets on the major streets are good, which would be a high PCI, basically above the good category. That's an increase of 4%. Last year that was 70%, so that's gone up. Whereas category C and D and F in the major streets went down by 1% and 3% respectively. So that means that streets are gradually moving into the higher tier of condition as we proceed with our program. Additionally, on the local streets, which many of you know have faced years and years of no maintenance funding, this is our second year of maintaining the local streets. We saw an increase to 41% in the A and B category from 37% last year. And again, a similar decrease in the C and D and F categories as we've just continued to improve the condition of our streets. Slide, please. So for those of you who may not have seen one of our presentations before, we refer to pavement condition index a lot. And this number represents the condition of streets, and it ranges from 0 to 100, with 100 being a brand new street. When we discuss a citywide PCI, that's the average condition of all the 2,519 miles of streets. And that number is going to sound different to you because we found some streets in our network this year that I'll describe in a future slide. The good news is that our overall PCI went up by 1 point despite those new miles. And as you can kind of see on the rows, we were actually pretty close to a 2-point increase, but didn't feel comfortable rounding up. So we went up by 1 point this year to a 67 from a 66. Slide. This is just similar to the last presentation, a PCI visual guide, and you can see it's just much easier. These numbers are kind of esoteric unless you can really see a photo that associates with the condition. So to the upper left, you have Miami Drive, which was just repaved and is an excellent category. Our average PCI is slightly above the photo to the right, which is in good condition. And then the two photos on the bottom are noticeably worse and need maintenance. Slide, please. So I mentioned the missing miles. This year's condition assessment incorporates 23 more miles of major streets and 62 more miles of local streets. For a variety of reasons listed in this slide, these miles were never captured in our database. As we initiated a more robust maintenance program, we noticed that some of the streets that should have been in our database seemed to be missing. So we spent some time reviewing parcel maps, working with Public Works and Code GIS layers, and reconciling this information with our consultants that assess our streets every year to make sure that these miles were not only included in our database, but also that they were assessed so that we could capture the current condition and have an accurate understanding of the condition. Fortunately, our new higher PCI includes these streets as they were not in worse condition than our citywide average. Now that we caught this error and this oversight, we've implemented a process to make sure it won't happen again and improved our coordination efforts with other stakeholders like Public Works, code enforcement, and just initiated a process where we're investigating and reporting on this every year. I've attached a couple of photos here that show the assessment process. So our consultant has a van equipped with multiple sensors that collects and evaluates pavement condition data like distress, roughness, smoothness, and texture. And at the bottom, you see how the sensors pick up that data from the pavement surface, collect the data, and then the consultant engineers validate it, see if it makes sense, and upload it into our software to calculate PCI and generate the both the condition and then estimate the deterioration curves, which is the rate at which our street network is deteriorating. Thanks. Next slide, please. So the pavement pyramid, this is a pretty busy slide for those of you who may be new to this, but at a high level tries to provide a summary of our pavement maintenance program. So you can see kind of at the apex of our pyramid, the summarized totals. We have, as I mentioned, 2,519 miles. The PCI is 67 now. We have an estimated 10-year annual need of $86.8 million to get our average street condition into the good category, 70 or above. We have a one-time backlog of $526.4 million. The lower boxes summarize conditions and backlogs in our distinct street networks. So in years past, this distinction used to really matter because we had to prioritize maintenance on our major streets, which carry 85% of our traffic. But as a result, over the years, the PCI has risen to a 77, and this only requires an annual total of about $20.2 million to maintain this network in good condition. The base of the pyramid contains our much larger local and neighborhood streets network, which, as you'll recall, really received no regular maintenance for 20 years until 2018, essentially. The investments in these streets have brought its PCI up by several points over the last few years, starting at 58 2 years ago. So it's made a substantial raise to 62 since we've been maintaining the streets. As you can see, the majority of the backlog, and so that's the cost and the negative conditions, exists on the right with our streets under the PCI of 49. But much of our maintenance over the next few years focuses on these streets, and we expect to see a reduced backlog next year, just like we did this year. Next slide. So here's the historical trend for our PCI. There was a big bump in 2017. As Councilmember Foley, as I mentioned, when we did the full assessment of all of our ADA ramps, we also took the opportunity to get a one-time full assessment of all of our streets. And it turned out our streets were in better condition than we thought at the time. After a few years of holding steady, we saw a clear increase this year. And after reviewing the data, we expect to see further increases in the coming years. And we believe we'll reach 70 and maybe exceed it sometime in the next 10 years, which is the first time I can say this. I couldn't even say that last year. Slide. So we use this slide to summarize our 10-year funding status. The top line shows where the average funding needs to be for us to reach a PCI of 70 over a 10-year period. We're currently approximately $2 million below that over that 10-year period, which is why we'll likely reach 70 at some point in this time. Whether we can maintain it is another story. Fortunately, we are really well positioned to maintain the current PCI, which is again a 67, which is only the second time we could report that. Notably, you can see a steep drop-off in fiscal year 27-28 as our Measure T funding is expected to be exhausted, and we will need other alternative sources of funding to keep our maintenance at a high level. There is a good possibility, though, that federal funding becomes available at least one time in this next 10-year window, though we can't really forecast or predict that at this time, and so we're not inputting it into any of our projections right now. But just for reference, those federal aid projects make a big difference. This year, we're delivering one federal aid project, 2020, and we're finishing it this summer right now, which is approximately the one grant alone is $17 million. So it can make a big difference for us, and we will advocate and anticipate getting a grant hopefully sometime in the next 10 years to do something similar. Next slide. So this one's also pretty busy. This slide shows, we believe this is important because this slide shows the past 4 years of our 10-year maintenance projections. So each year we perform this analysis to ensure that the decisions we make now are the most efficient use of our funds 10 years in the future. As you can see, when we started this chart, we were in really bad shape in 2018 prior to Measure T and the full implementation of Measure B, with a 10-year trend line showing a maintenance backlog exceeding $1 billion. which is very, very difficult to come back from. The situation had improved the next year with the successful implementation of ETA Measure B. And again, Measure B surviving the legal challenge was a big deal. This action alone reduced our 10-year maintenance backlog by 50%. And then last year was the first time we factored in Measure T into our projections, resulting in another substantial decrease down to, again, the 10-year projected backlog at that time was $370 million. The last solid green line in our current projection, we see a slight uptick, which is almost entirely the result of maintenance required on the new miles we found. But over a 10-year period, this isn't really a substantial increase and represents a street network that really has an improved condition, stabilized and improved conditions in the years to come. Slide. So we really like charts in DOT. When I started with the city in 2013, we paved about 29 miles. And then as you can see, each of the following years, we were able to increase our output as we received grants, council prioritized funding for street maintenance, and SB1 passed in a statewide election. We had our largest year ever in 2019 because Measure B had just survived a legal challenge, and we essentially had 2 years of saved funding that we decided to try to spend in one summer, which was a big success. We got all those miles done that year. In 2020, we received our first allocation of Measure T, that was this past construction season, which focuses on more costly and expensive repairs on the local streets. That's because these streets are just in worse condition and have deteriorated over time. So the ratio of streets where we have to do resurfacing is higher than on our major streets. As we focused on it looks like you slept that. As we focused on more resurfacing streets, our overall mileage decreased. But 2020 did represent our single largest year of resurfacing with over 125 miles planned. You can see the continuous trend of increased mileage as we begin to tackle our worst streets and start moving into more preventive maintenance. Next slide. So 2020 was by far our most challenging year, but the team still built over 2,100 ADA ramps and completed the vast majority of its scheduled miles. Our winter suspension, for all intents and purposes, is now pretty much complete, and we're starting paving operations again for the miles that were suspended. We piloted our first multi-year resurfacing contract, which has added efficiencies to our work. As you can imagine, it was really difficult to pave with our residents sheltered in place. With cars parked and residents at home, the last thing we wanted to do was add pain for our residents. But we collaborated with our parking compliance officers to provide enhanced outreach and flyering, and resulted in high levels of compliance. And we also worked with the council offices in the areas impacted and got the word out as best we could. We had to quickly transition to a remote working environment, but had transitioned to a virtual project management system about 2 years ago that allowed this team to continue working without missing a beat. Our team and contractors work safely and efficiently in really the most challenging of conditions. And I just want to express my gratitude to our dozens of staff members and the appreciation for the leadership and effort for our next presenter, Division Manager, Frank Farshidi.
Thank you, Rick. Good afternoon, committee. My name is Frank Farshidi, Division Manager for Pavement Maintenance in DOT. 2021, the current year that we are in, will mark the 3rd year that we have increased pavement funding for mainly residential streets. And we are following the same strategy, which is paving residential streets that are within these selected zones. So as you can see on this picture, on this slide, zones are, we have 135 pavement maintenance zones throughout the city. And this is just one of them highlighted here. You can think of these as these blocks of streets in neighborhoods that will be maintained together. So the reason that we are going with this approach is to ensure cost savings, delivery efficiency, and overall provide a better customer service to our residents, because not just one street at a time will get maintained. The whole entire zone or that pavement maintenance zone will be maintained. Another important note here is within a pavement maintenance zone, we could have different treatments, and you probably have observed that in your districts. So depending on the street condition, could either have a sealing or a resurfacing street, but overall zones are selected based on their weighted average PCI. And our strategy is still to select those zones with the lowest PCIs while we consider the geographical input across the city. So meaning we look at the big picture, and we also get input from stakeholders, and we verify conditions in the field before we finalize. Next slide, please. So just a little more information about our 2021 projects. So In 2021, this current year, we are going to have 13 minor construction projects and 8 major construction projects. So the picture on the right is showing that just in a big picture, and we'll talk about that when we get to the our website. But just to define minor versus major, so minor projects are defined as smaller CIP projects, less than $600,000, with the objective of attracting more local and small businesses. We have used this new past measure by the voters that we could tailor our concrete ADA curb ramp works for these type of smaller projects, which is a prep work for our pavement projects. Major projects, those are defined as larger projects. They are larger in both value and scope, mainly for pavement related work that we have throughout the city. So again, we will be addressing 12 zones or 142 miles of streets this year. So again, 2021 will have 142 miles. This is an increase of 14 miles from last year, which was 2020. 2020, we maintain 128 miles or 16 zones. And the main selection strategy remains still the same as last year. Just, again, to focus on those poor zones first with the lowest weighted average PCIs. Next slide, please. So as you remember, DOT, we set a goal for ourselves to maintain all residential streets in San Jose by 2028, and we are on track to meet this goal as we speak. So with the progress that we've made, especially on the residential side since 3 years ago, and 2021 would be the third year, we are going to be on track. And to provide you just some statistics on the production since we started the residential program in 2019, you see we have maintained 320 miles in 32 different zones between 2019 and 2020, and that remain. We have 1,232 miles still remaining, but we are on track, and we think we will be able to complete all of them by 2028, leveraging all the funding source and assuming that those are going to be there. And we continue to factor in the street condition, the feedback from development and safety projects. We incorporate those into our projects, and also the council and the community feedback, while also considering the geographical input across the city. Next slide, please. We understand that equity and service delivery is an important item for our community and the council. And to better understand how pavement maintenance compares to areas of concerns within San Jose, our office actually started a research on this topic a year and a half ago. And we looked at the most reliable data that we could find available to the public, to us online. And we found this equity tool developed by Metropolitan Transportation Commission, MTC, which is a metropolitan transportation for Bay Area region. And their tool was last updated in 2018, and it contains many attributes related to equity. It actually contains 8 different attributes with different weighing structure. But that was the tool that we had. We wanted to compare and see how our pavement maintenance strategies working against that tool. The good news is that overall, the strategy and the progress is having also a significant impact on these communities from pavement maintenance perspective. In other words, by end of 2023, which is our current 3-year plan, we will be completing pavement maintenance on 65% of our communities of concerns within San Jose. And we also project to complete all of these COC zones definitely prior to 2027. We're also currently working with the Office of Racial Equity to better understand the needs, and so that therefore we could align our strategy with that. And we have shared a copy of this presentation with the director and trying to be proactive on this and understand, the details that are going to come out soon. Next slide, please. So this slide is just a little bit busy, but this overall shows you the overall pipeline, pavement, we call it pavement pipeline, or all of our projects we have between both major streets and residential streets. So we have total of 17 minor projects. So as you remember, minor projects are the smaller, less than $600,000 projects, plus 12 major projects for a total of 29 projects this year. So 29 projects overall. And if we were to compare that to last year, we had roughly 22 projects between both minor and major projects. So it is an increase of 7. And mainly the increase is towards the minor contracts. So we have increased the number of minor contracts that are available from the pre-qualification pool that we have worked with DPW on to get those smaller contracts and provide that opportunity to the smaller local contractors. Overall, so far 24% of all the minors that we have successfully advertised and open bids on, 24% have been awarded to small local businesses, and we're still in the early stages. This is the time that we go out to bid and we advertise and we select contractors, and all major contracts will be coming to council for award. But we are happy with what we've seen so far. Total combined miles between major and local neighborhood streets or residential streets is 222 miles, and we have, as you can see on the table, the row right before the last one, we have a multi-year contract. So this is going to be the first renewal on that multi-year contract. Last year we advertised one multi-year contract. It was a success, and this year we are going to advertise another multi-year contract. We were happy with the contractor's performance, so we are exercising their renewal option for 2021. So that particular project on the residential side is going to start earlier because we are saving a lot of time in the procurement phase, and we could go right into construction on that one. Next slide, please. So just overall, summarizing our progress, DOT continues to deliver on pavement maintenance side, both on the major streets and residentials. And thanks to multiple secured fundings that we have and efficient delivery, our PCI, as Rick mentioned, has increased to upwards of 67. So we decided to round it down to 67, but it is definitely on the upper end of 67. And overall funding shortfall has decreased to only 2.1 million. And our major streets is in a very good condition, PCI 77. And that's why, as you saw in the other slides, our need is also pretty decent, meaning it's not a big number. As we could see, if we could get our streets to a good condition, it's a lot less costly to maintain them at that level. But it's the challenge is to get them to that good condition. So our strategy again is to keep those good streets in a good condition for a long time. Moving forward, again, we have 222 miles of streets in 2021. We have an updated 3-year plan that we have shared with the council, and also we have now a website, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. So to improve our public outreach and coordination with all of our stakeholders and provide transparency both to the public and our program, we started launching this live pavement project story map website. The link is provided on this slide for you. You can see that the website has two major tabs that you could click on. So the first tab and the main tab is the picture that you see on the upper right hand side. So that gives you an idea of that particular year. So for example, for 2021, it will have all the 2021 streets, and it will have these major three boxes: miles remaining, miles in progress, and what's planned ahead. So this is a live website. We update this, and again, thanks to our DOT IT and also the DPW IT, we were able to support the backend data on this. Our project managers have access to this, and once we go in construction, this website gets updated very regularly, and the information is up to date. Thank you very much. So I think, next slide, please. Want to thank all of our team members. So this slide just puts together some pictures that all of these pictures, except for that first one on the left, these are pictures pre-COVID, obviously. But you know, we have a great team, and we couldn't do all of the work without them. And I just want to thank and express my gratitude to our team. Thank you very much for your time and attention, and we're open for questions.
Thank you. We will go to the public first. Paul Soto.
Thank you for that presentation. However, it is inadequate. And what I mean by that is the photos, the pictures of the streets, I can't read them. I'm the public here. Your presentation is for me, not just the council. It's for me to understand and to be able to see. And so what I would like is this presentation to be done again, but with actual pictures where I could see the street names and really see my city sectioned off. You know, this is inadequate, and this is what has happened historically, to where, you know, it's almost like there's a passive aggressive kind of relationship that the city government is having with its citizenry, you know, and so that's out. That is not adequate, and I hope somebody says something about it. That's number one. Number two, the equity lens, you used the word equity. You described that you were bringing a presentation to the Office of Racial Equity, but I want to really know within this context how that's articulated. What do you mean that you access them? For what purpose? And why do we have a racial equity office involved in the infrastructure of our city to begin with? See, these are the questions that we need answered from a public's perspective. We need these questions asked, and we need them answered. And if it requires, we ask a follow-up question in order to really get a sense, because in Dr. Stephen Petey's book, In Si Puedes, it shows little kids playing in open sewage, dirt roads. I have pictures. Any of the council members would like pictures of the infrastructure in Si Puedes in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s. I have them in my possession. I will share them with you all. And then show pictures of the infrastructure of Willow Glen at the same time. At the same time. You see, we really have to become versed in this equity conversation, insert their office, and I want there to be a standard that is so high that it is on par with CEQA. That is what needs to happen if we're really going to confront and to rectify these historical injustices as it relates to the allocation of resources within our infrastructure of our city. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Blair?
Hopefully that will. Can you start the clock over again? Something's wrong here. Can you start the clock over? Someone needs to edit. Someone needs to mute.
Clerk, we need, Paul Soto is unmuted, and I think that's thank you. Go ahead, Blair.
Thanks a lot. Okay. To just thank you. Sorry about that. To offer a few words, Paul Soto just offered some really interesting words. You know, you're mentioning the use of the equity office at this time. How can the public meeting process be a place to actually more constructively talk about issues and the issues of equity? What exactly are you talking to them about? What can be pointers for the public that you are talking about with with the equity office? You know, it's how do we heighten that process? How do we go to the next step? That's going to become an important point for myself in the next few months. So thank you for Paul Soto for those words. For this item, it was mentioned you're going to have little monitors for pavement functioning, how it's working well. Those little monitors have a real tendency to collect a lot of other data. And it's exactly why we need the ideas of open public policy practices, a surveillance technology ordinance that will be starting to come through. It's being asked about by Councilperson Jimenez, apparently, and others of advocacy, local advocacy. Thank you for that. And, it's a real effort to do that. I think Measure T, public oversight is not going to be enough. I think that was initially slated to be oversight for the technology of Measure T. It needs to be more than that. Thank you incredibly that you're introducing possible privacy advocacy committee and service for surveillance and technology ordinance ideas for this stuff like the pavement monitoring. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Roland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Very briefly, I'd like to echo the concerns that Paul Soto raised with regard with the apparent conflict between the way our elected officials are conducting these meetings and the needs of the general public. In the interest of time, I'll be addressing what I intend to do about the issue during open forum at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Turning to the committee, Councilmember Perales.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, staff, for the presentation. I have obviously seen these numerous times, but I guess I'll reiterate what we've heard from the community. I guess it doesn't help with some of the imagery that we put in the slides. So maybe it's just something to kind of rethink and determine how we might best want to display that. I guess it's helpful just as a little caption, but I think what we really use, which is a great tool that we asked staff to create, was the online map that actually shows the trajectory for the next 3 years and what's been done in the past. And that's actually a great interactive map. And I know that that's what you're displaying here in the presentation slides, but unfortunately, right, it is difficult to actually see what those really are. So maybe even for future presentations, we could just even bring up the interactive map and take a look at some of the areas, because I do think it is actually a great resource. And unfortunately, even though we promote it, not a lot of people are aware of that resource. And then in regards to, this actually piggybacks off my comments from the last presentation. This is now, right, our spending plan on getting at some of the deferred maintenance. And I was looking in the report for something that, or a section that addressed the measuring of equity, and it's not there, but I did see it come up, obviously, in your presentation. There was the one slide about it that sort of maps out the MTC, using MTC's communities of concern, and that was the map that was displayed, but that's also the map that's one of the maps, obviously, that's pretty hard to view. I would like to see this in the report in subsequent years, and so looking at the memo itself, the report itself, I'd like to see a section rather than just a slide in the presentation that actually gets a little bit of context in regards to the communities of concern themselves, um, and gives us a better understanding of why, right? That actually talks about sort of some of these areas that may have, you know, concerns as to why we would want to prioritize them, you know, before another area that actually might have a worse PCI score. And so that's, I think, the whole concept there, right, of actually including that equity lens is that, is there something or streets in this case out there, some streets out there that deserve to be paved before their score might put them in line. And that's really what I think we would need to include in the report. And I'm curious, because I know you said you were going to be talking to the Office of Race and Equity to show them this slide. What is staff's thoughts in regards to that and being able to include that in future reports going forward?
Councilmember, this is John Risto, Director of Transportation. Yeah, Rick probably wants to jump in too, but that's a really good suggestion. And, you know, we are using the best available data that we have right now, but I'm sure there's more learning that we can do. And that's what we're trying to do with Office of Racial Equity. So to answer your question, I think certainly we could expand on the way we will be considering equity and other many considerations like that that go into that in the future reports. Certainly do that. I think we're all going to be expanding our knowledge as we go forward on how to use all that new information. So yes, we can do that.
Well, if I could just kind of even build on that, I think that's our intention, actually. You know, I think where we are kind of as a life cycle of the Department of Racial Equity is trying to find ways, I know citywide, to incorporate findings and tools into the work that we do. And I know we're all the various departments are doing that. And that's absolutely our intention to incorporate that once we have kind of gained the knowledge and a little bit more understanding and can speak to it.
Great. What's your thought about being able to achieve that before next year's report?
Well, I think, as Rick said, we are learning a lot more every year as we do this whole program. I think between now and then, before we come back again to this committee a year from now, I'm sure we will have even more ability to consider equity once we find the right data pieces to use. It's you know, there's a lot of information that we're still trying to sort out of what's the best data to use when using that. And I think that's where that office is going to really help us out to get standardized in our decision making using different data sources. So a year from now, I'm sure we will have a lot more information, and we do look at what other cities and other areas of the country are doing as well. So.
Okay, yeah, this one in particular was actually key to my argument a couple years ago when I was asking for this work to begin and be funded within our budget on equity. And it was really what I saw happening in the city of Oakland and how they were utilizing their Office of Racial Equity to really help them map out their pavement maintenance work, taking into consideration the needs, the inequitable needs of certain parts of the city. And for instance, you know, we do a really good job on the data that we collect, and in our report, we're looking at PCI scores, right? And we look at mirroring it up with other work that, right, is already going on. We have a number of factors, right, that we take into consideration as we decide where to pave. But historically, one of those factors that we have not taken into consideration has been equity and the differing needs throughout the community. And that was one of my big hopes, because as was just reported on the last report, this is our single biggest need in deferred maintenance and infrastructure, right? It's the needs of our roadways. It's our biggest publicly owned asset. And thus our biggest need. And, you know, I think there could be good argument that there's other things that we want to prioritize in regards to using an equity lens and really getting that within to the reports. I might argue for our parks as well, but I don't think you can argue that this is the biggest one, hands down. The biggest, you know, chunk of change that we're putting in every year, the biggest need we have every year, the biggest on public asset. And so this is where I think, honestly, it should fit in first. And that's really why I'm asking, you know, if we think we can include that by next year, because this is the biggest investment we have made in pavement maintenance in decades. And we're likely not going to, do this again for another couple decades, right? We're going to try to continue to get some funding, ongoing funding. But this is it. This is the biggest chunk that we've been putting in. And now that we're a couple years in, I'd really love to see that we actually can utilize this new office. We approved it a year later than I had and some of my colleagues had hoped that it would be approved, but it's here now. And I do appreciate we'll work with them. I will tell you, because I have looked into the communities of concern mapping that MTC has done. I do think that is a great base to start with. And I'm not, I'm going to say that that's the perfect data set to utilize. But in looking at it myself, it does overlay very well with what I think we understand are our biggest communities of concern here in the city. So I think you're using some of the right data sets. It's just, unfortunately, I think, this year it only made its way into a slide. It didn't necessarily make its way into a report. And I don't think clearly, right, it's not making its way as an actual filter in the funding distribution. I will say, I want to thank you and your team, John, for working with my office to try and identify, could we move around some of the funding, right, that's in outer years and maybe speed it up a little sooner in some areas that I personally know have greater need. And so thank you for doing that. But I don't think it necessarily should be something that is, that shouldn't be something that's just done on an annual basis in conversations, depending on whoever the council member is, right? I do think that we should have a tool, a way to analyze, just like we do with the PCI scores, a way to be able to actually analyze for city staff as professionals to look at and then layer that in. And I do think we could at least get to the point next year where we've included that into the report, where we can detail why it's important, we can detail how we're using it, even if it's not perfect. I'd like to see much more progress next year on this and actually see it in the report than what we've seen this year. But all things considered, though, I understand, right, this office is brand new, it's just getting up and running, and certainly recognize the realities there. But that's why I'm asking, and I'm hoping that by next year, right, we can certainly see that folded into the report. Otherwise, no other questions. And again, thank you for that, and hope you appreciate the feedback and take it constructively. I'll move to approve the report.
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, just kind of follow up questions along those lines. The PCI score is an objective measure of the condition of the roads. Is there a way, we have that data from before all of this work started in 2018 for all of the neighborhoods, right? So we should be able to look at how that PCI data mapped by council district, by neighborhood, and see how it laid out, and whether we can use that even to say there are areas of the city that were neglected historically or traditionally, and in some sense that almost is a measure in itself of where the neglect had been and where extra investment should be early in this process, right? I mean, so perhaps, I mean, I don't know whether that data has been presented because I'm new to this, but was there a presentation of that data at some point that said, here are the parts of the city that have lower average PCI scores than other parts of the city?
Yeah, council member, this is John Risto again. Thanks. Really good questions and following up on Councilmember Perales. So yes, we have that data, and it is available for all of the streets, and historically too. We actually used that data in the Measure T ballot that went forward to actually indicate which streets were actually the worst condition, and that's what was actually voted on. So we used that data to identify all those streets that were really bad, and those were the roughly 300 miles of streets that were in the worst condition. That's what Measure T went for. So we do have a pretty good set of data that we can use to do that. Now the good news is, as Rick pointed out in his presentation, we are in a really good place, because we are going to be able to pave every street in the city over this roughly now 6 or 7 year time frame that you were shown on the presentation that Rick had. So we're in a pretty good shape to actually get everything done. So although we definitely are trying to prioritize what ones that make sense, because the different funding sources need to go to different types of conditions of roadway, So it is a little bit of a balancing act, but all of that kind of the equity considerations, input from council offices and community, and then a lot of engineering data goes into the decisions to make that. So you are right, we've got that data and we can certainly make use of that and actually or portray that in other ways as well. So,
I know you're using that data to prioritize what neighborhoods get prioritized in terms of overall neighborhoods have lower PCI scores get done first. It's a little more complicated, and I appreciate the complexity of your work because certainly you don't want to pave something that's about to have utility work done, so you sometimes have to
there's
delay it. So there are reasons why delays happen when other work is being done in neighborhoods. If you're building out some other infrastructure, you want to make sure that's finished first. But presumably we could go back and maybe take a look at what areas of the city traditionally had worse street maintenance when this whole thing started, in order to see whether we're addressing areas of high need or whether the areas of high need were in fact in areas where we suspect they were, they might have been, and see whether we're addressing them appropriately. Anyway, I'm just curious.
No, it's really good. I'm sure Rick is going to tell you that we equally abandoned and the entire local roadway network had been without maintenance for several decades. So
I think that's
really bad roads all over the city is what.
Not only are there bad roads all over the city, but the variables that impact the condition go beyond, maybe decisions that were made by maintenance staff in the past over which streets to maintain and which streets not to maintain. For instance, due to the nature of some of the streets, due to the location of some of the streets in Council District 6, because there's marshland and other things there, the streets there tend to be in really bad shape, even in kind of relatively affluent areas. So I think that's why we want to work with the Office of Racial Equity, is there's a lot of variables that go into kind of the condition. And we did try to find that kind of discrete connection between communities of concern and PCI, and just could not find a correlation necessarily between the two. So that's why we're trying to kind of measure as much as we can and gain really the experience and the knowledge to be able to properly assess, this is a variable that guides our decision making. So what we showed you was kind of, by targeting the zones that we targeted, here's how we're doing with respect to equity. And I think, what Councilmember Peral has mentioned and is where we want to go is how do we incorporate it as a filter in decision making? And that's what we're trying to figure out over the next year.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Just one last question. So, I mean, your online story map is actually very, very helpful. I love it because you can look and see what's been done, what's yet to be done. Your map goes through 2023. I assume, so the plan is to roll out 1 year at a time beyond 2023. So at the end of this year, we'll see 2024. So the folks who have not had their work done kind of have to wait and see 1 year at a time when, and the ones who will be at the end won't know until, I guess, 2025 that their road's coming in 2028. Is that the idea? There won't be some sort of overall plan to see when the road's coming?
That's pretty much it because of the conversations we're having now. And we believe it's really important to have some flexibility in the out years as far as the decisions that we make on pavement maintenance, and also keep our credibility with the public. So we don't want to put out a plan that then we change, and then people who think they're on tap for 2024 are no longer on tap for 2024. That's why we feel that 3-year suggestion was reasonable for us. Our funding streams are relatively consistent now. We kind of know what we're able to do. And, I think we all have a kind of by pencil what we think we might be able to do over the next 8 years and, which year we're going to do it. But we don't really want to lose the flexibility to kind of do the type of analysis we think we need to do, to make these decisions each year.
I appreciate that. It's just important for us to be able to explain it to our constituents as well, what they can expect and when they can expect to learn more. So I just wanted to understand.
It was just really important for me as we rolled this out that I could, if I said something was being paved in 2023, we felt pretty confident that was the plan. And things change a lot, for a number of reasons, and we're open to that. But I just think that the credibility is so important, especially when you're sharing a public tool like this. We want to be pretty sure we can do it.
Well, it's tough. And there's some roads, by the way, not to get into detail, that show up on your map twice, just because that's the nature of things like this. So I mean, I understand this is a huge, complicated project, and things are gonna happen. So, we know that there's going to be errors like that occur. So, but I think it's a great tool, and I really appreciate it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Esparza.
Thank you. wanted to thank Councilmember Perales for bringing up equity, because this was actually what we talked about when he and I sat at Rules Committee 2 years ago to talk about equity, because a lot of folks will think about an after-school program, right, is equity, but really equity is built into the infrastructure and everything we do as a city. And we actually talked about the last unpaved road being in District 7 at that time, because you know, our city is inequitable, and so I appreciate that, and I appreciate DOT sort of recognizing that we need to really look at this and consider equity and look at the communities of concern. And so I wanted to give some feedback. I don't know where the Office of Racial Equity is on this. This was one of the things that we had 2 years ago hoped that the office would assist departments with, but just with some suggestions. And again, based on my experience, because I joke that DOT is like Santa Claus right now, because everybody's happy when you walk in the room now. So just some feedback based on my experience would be to also look at census tracts with overcrowding, to look at obviously income and race, but also households that have cars. Right, so we have overcrowded census tracts, and because we've run into some of this issue in my district is there might be a household of 12 people, 3 of them may have cars, and that leaves the rest of the folks needing to be able to get around without a car. And so I think those are some ways to kind of look at equity in some of these conditions. And I also wanted to address equity in process, again, based on my feedback with the Measure B, the McLaughlin Project, and Measure T, which is, I'd really like to thank Frank and the whole team for working with District 7 and John. The whole team was very open to trying new things. And one of the things we learned early on was to work with schools, is particularly in an area that has a big digital divide. The interactive map is an awesome tool, and I'm sure useful to a lot of folks in the city, not so much for a lot of the residents of District 7. And so DOT, we did a lot of old school mailers. My office went door to door. We did a whole variety of multilingual communications to get the word out. But another thing that I would like to point out in terms of equity and process is working on a project with DOT. I really appreciate that you were all super open, because we did some Measure T paving in a part of my district, in the Tropicana area of my district, and very, very overcrowded, very, very low income. At the same time, we also did that in McLaughlin, very, very overcrowded, very, very low income. And DOT was amazing and trying to do as much as we could as possible so that we didn't tow cars. And that was, I just wanted to bring that up as an example of equity and process, because to tow a car, even if it's for one night, that could end up putting folks out on the street. They're not going to be able to get that car out. And so, I also wanted to just highlight the need for that equity and process, and thank the DOT team. You guys have been incredible partners, and I just wanted to thank you for that. And so that's really my feedback. I did want to add one more thing in terms of equity in sections that we pave or prioritize paving. And some of them are that we do have those areas that that have more resources that might have worse roads. But again, as we start getting into how it's used, how many folks live in that area, right? The incredible overcrowding and folks that are using it. But one of the other things to consider would be to also look at how long has it been since that neighborhood has gotten any kind of attention whatsoever? Because I know some of the work that DOT has done in my district, it's been decades. And so it's been much appreciated to partner and go out there. And I look forward to incorporating equity even more into the next iteration of this report. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Esparza. And I want to thank staff. I like the analogy of DOT is Santa Claus right now, because I think it is very true that everybody loves getting their street paved, even if it's a minor inconvenience at the time. And I've said it before, I love the pavement story map. And we promote that in our monthly newsletter, not every month, but probably about once a quarter, because we get a lot of questions on when is my street going to be paved? When they hear 2028, to Councilmember Cohen's point, everyone wants to know, okay, when's mine going to be paved? And of course, when I say by 2028 at the latest, everyone always thinks they're going to be the last one. Oh, that's too long. So it's really helpful to have the 3-year look so that people can know if, it just checks off that box if they are in the 3-year ahead. And I completely understand, Rick, your comments about only being able to do 3 years. And I actually have a question about that. We've been talking about heat island effect, and this kind of goes into the equity conversation as well. And I had actually gotten a question during office hours that I couldn't answer last Wednesday, and it was about how asphalt can be made to be more environmentally friendly. Are there different types of street paving options that can reduce that heat island effect?
I think this is John Risto again, Director, and I think I'll turn that one over to Dr. Pavement, Frank Farshidi. See, he is our expert in all things, and maybe Frank can there are cities experimenting in some of that. And before Frank starts, one of the things that really helps with that is a very good tree canopy cover of the city, which you're going to be hearing more about in the next couple of months. So we've got plans for that coming forward too. But Frank, what about different paving treatments?
Yes, thank you, Council Member, for bringing it up. We actually started, if you recall, I think it was 2.5 years ago when the topic came up, and it was mainly from an experiment or a pilot project that the City of LA conducted on their streets, where they went ahead with sealing very good streets with this sealing product where it would gray them out instead of a blacker colors to reduce that urban heat island effect. And we looked into that. We actually visited City of LA. We discussed the details with them, and we reached out to the vendor that they were using at the time. We inquired a lot of questions about, the longevity of that color, color change and everything else. But the more we looked into it, so one area that we were really concerned about was the overall life cycle assessment, of the product, because we don't want to just get into it and just roll it out in a big number and then find out that this product is not actually that environmentally friendly. And that is still the case, because some of these products, they're because of the modifications they have to do to the asphalt or whatnot. The source is actually, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort, and it is costly. It's very costly as well. It's still at this time to get it and to make that change. And also, there's no performance on how long is it going to last, and what is the difference between because most of the new streets with time they change their color to the aggregate color. So if you notice a brand new pavement with asphalt. It has that asphalt binder, which is the bottom of the crude oil color to it in the first 6 months or the first year and a half. But as time changes, it gets to the aggregate color, which is mainly grayish. It has less albedo, which is the main factor that they were, researching and trying to get at. So we didn't want to just jump into it and say, well, we could try it out, but we are still monitoring that. We're getting information, not just from the city of LA and the vendors, because there's going to be a lot of misinformation as well that sometimes you get from vendors. We also look into the academia and the research, the independent research that's still happening nationally. So I'm involved in one of the TRB, Transportation Research Board committees. It's specifically called Urban Heat Island Effect for Urban Communities and mainly local agencies, cities and counties. So there's still, not one, black or white recommendation either way. So we're still definitely looking into it. It is a topic that we are very interested in, but at this time, we're not pursuing that particular vendor and product that I mentioned, but.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I really appreciate that you're staying on top of it to see what's becoming available and as things develop. So I appreciate that. And I forgot that Frank was Dr. Pavement. So appreciate that reminder. We are ready for the vote to accept the report.
Foley,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
and Davis.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on to item D3, it is our regional transportation activities quarterly report. And I think Jessica Zink is kicking us off.
Yes, that's correct. Good afternoon, Chair Davis and the rest of the Transportation and Environment Committee. Thank you for having us. This is the Regional Transportation Activities Report. And for Council Members Cohen and Foley, who this is new for, just wanted to give a little bit of background. 4 times a year, the Department of Transportation highlights the major regional projects and activities that are going on within our overall transportation system. So what you'll see with this report is a memorandum that has all of the major projects that we consider, both city projects and those of our partners. And it tries to essentially give you a compendium in that memorandum that's posted with this report. But then we choose a couple of projects, try to keep it manageable, to highlight for you each time. And so this quarter, we're being joined by our colleagues from the California High-Speed Rail Authority and the VTA, Valley Transportation Authority, to talk specifically about 3 projects, if I can advance. There we go. So we're going to hear first from Boris Lipkin at the High-Speed Rail Authority, second from Bernice Alanis with VTA, and then third from Ken Ronci about the Eastridge to BART Regional Connector, lovingly referred to as Capital Light Rail still by most people. So I am going to go ahead and turn this over to Boris Lipkin. We will go ahead and do all 3 of the presentations, and if it's okay with the committee, then we'll take questions at the end, but we'll all stay to answer those questions. All right, turning it to Boris.
Okay, thank you, Jess, and thanks for the committee for having me. My name is Boris Lipkin. I'm the Northern California Regional Director with the High-Speed Rail Authority, and I guess I'll, before I start, apologize to Chair Davis and Councilmember Perales. You guys, you both saw this presentation on Friday at the Joint Policy Advisory Board meeting, and it looks very similar, as it's the same update on the our revised draft 2020 business plan. But I appreciate having a chance to come to this committee as well and provide a similar update on the program. Next slide, please. And maybe while least it's not changing on my, oh, okay. All right, and one more. Sorry, thank you. As it's loading, I think just for a bit of background, for those new to high-speed rail, the program, of course, is a statewide high-speed rail system that was first approved by the voters back in 2008. We have made quite a bit of progress, obviously, since that time, and including getting into construction. We can talk about that as part of this. What I wanted to highlight for today is focused on our recently released, what we're calling the revised draft 2020 business plan. So the High-Speed Rail Authority, under its normal course of business, submits a business plan to the legislature normally in every even year. And so we released our draft 2020 business plan around this time last year, a little earlier in February. Normally that would have been to the legislature by May 1st, but obviously events intervened between February and May of last year with the start of the pandemic. So the authority took a few steps back to really analyze and be able to articulate the impacts of COVID for what that means for the program and the effects of the pandemic, as well as respond to a variety of questions that had come up in legislative hearings at the time of the release. And so having done that work, we then have come back now with what we're calling the revised draft 2020 business plan. This plan is out for public comment through March 12th. There will be a board hearing on it tomorrow where our board will accept public comment, and then they'll consider adoption with any edits and changes between the draft and what will ultimately be the final at their March 25th meeting before submitting it to the legislature. So that's kind of just the process and steps in front of us. And then if we get into the content, next slide, please. So where the plan starts is describing the effects of COVID on the project and the program. And just as everything else in our lives that has changed, including probably how this meeting has been run, COVID is certainly with us and has impacted the program in a number of different ways. While we are not an operating entity, and I'm sure you've heard lots of discussion about various transit operators who have faced substantial revenue and other and ridership shortfalls, we have had similar effects on some of our funding, including the performance of cap and trade auctions over the course of the year have fallen significantly. Of course, we've had to quarantine workers, and we faced a number of different other delays over the course of the year. The bottom line of this is that COVID has created new risks for us that have caused both schedule and cost impacts, and the plan details both what we've already seen on that front, as well as the steps we're taking in terms of mitigations moving forward as the pandemic continues to affect the project. Next slide, please. This is just showing where we've been in construction, that over the course of the last year, while we have had effects from the pandemic, we have been able to maintain and actually substantially grow the pace of construction on the project, going from roughly 600 workers on site every single week in early 2020 to hitting a high of over 1,200, so doubling that over the course of the year. And of course, that equates to substantial progress in the construction work, as well as substantial economic contributions where many other industries have been forced into layoffs and other challenges for those communities involved. Next slide, please. This is sort of our report card from the previous plan, as well as with our new leadership team that came in 2018. When they took over, we had basically roughly 2,500 construction jobs that we had created at that time. That number has close to doubled in the last 2.5 years or so. We've now gotten over 50 structures that are either in construction or have already been built. And we've made substantial progress on the environmental clearance, as well as the construction work in terms of monthly expenditures. Next slide, please. So that's sort of tracking the progress since our last business plan. What the business plan lays out in terms of the path forward on the program is right now we have 119 miles that are already in construction. That's the work that's I was just describing in terms of the number of workers and structures, et cetera, that's in front of us and actively happening. The next steps, as the plan lays out, are extensions up to Merced and Bakersfield so that we can, as our CEO says, get out of the fields and into the cities in the Central Valley. That adds about another 50 miles of construction that we need to do. That segment is already environmentally cleared, and we've entered into a MOU with our state transportation agency and the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority to provide an interim operating service as soon as that segment of the track is completed. We are looking at potential opportunity for some deferral. We will eventually need 2 tracks across that entire segment. We might start with a phased track implementation where we would build out a main single track as well as passing sidings for that interim service operation. But we're going to look at that as we get bids on our track and systems contract and to see whether that adds extra complexity later on or and cost implications. But that is an option that the plan kind of puts forward because we can meet our service obligations without the second full track at the beginning. And then we conducted a independent peer review of the ridership forecast for that Central Valley line. This was in response to some of the requests from the legislature that we got to really validate and make sure that when we talk about ridership figures and the benefits that that can produce, that those are reasonable. And so we hired an independent firm to do that review, and we came back with a clean bill of health, fortunately. Next slide, please. So if that's what's sort of happening in the Central Valley, and that's obviously one focus of the plan, is we have 119 miles under construction. How are we going to get that into service, and what will that look like? The other part is that of course, we are continuing to advance the entire system, not just in the Central Valley, but across the entirety of what we call phase 1, which is from San Francisco through San Jose, through the Central Valley, and then down to Los Angeles and Anaheim. And so we made big progress on that last year. We issued 4 draft environmental documents across that system, including the 2 sections in Northern California, San Jose to Merced and San Francisco to San Jose. And then if you go to the next slide, please. Those 2 segments, we are continuing to advance through the environmental clearance process. We're working on responding to the comments that we received, and then we'll be looking to bring those back for their approval roughly this time next year or even a little earlier for San Jose to Merced, and then in Q2 for San Francisco to San Jose. And then clearing the entire phase 1 system by 2023. So this is probably the largest environmental clearance effort ever undertaken under both CEQA and NEPA, but we have made substantial progress. We still have, of course, more work to do. Next slide, please. This is just zooming in on the environmental process. Our little train is where we currently are. We've completed the public review of the draft. We will be coming back out in the next couple of months with some recirculated materials. This is mostly focused on some changes to how certain species are dealt with in the California Environmental Endangered Species Act, as well as under the National Endangered Species Acts. So you will see some additional noticing and information from us. Those are relatively minor revisions to the documents, but of course, we're also simultaneously working on responding to all of the comments that we received, and then ultimately looking to bring both the responses and any changes to the documents to our board, as I mentioned, early next year. Next slide, please. A few other things that the business plan focuses in on. There's a big discussion around risk and the steps that we are taking to manage risks on the program. I think if nothing else, COVID has demonstrated again for us that there are lots of risks that a project of this magnitude faces. And so we're taking prudent steps to increase our contingencies for the continued impacts of the pandemic on the project. We've established a enterprise risk management system that is being led by our new director of risk management that was brought on last year. And then the important step, and that's shown on the slide here, is we've developed a stage gate process for project development and delivery. And this is, I'm not going to go into every detail of every stage that's on here, but really a very systematic approach in how we do these projects and the steps that we take in the original planning, and then into development, and then ultimately into delivery. And really this is learning from some of the challenges that the program has faced in how we got started with construction, and looking to do it better as we continue to expand out of the first stretches of construction in the Central Valley. If you go to the next slide, please. What that means and what the business plan lays out for Northern California is a policy recommendation to use available resources to complete what's called Stage Gate 3 on the previous slide. And so that includes the environmental clearance, which we've sort of talked as this big milestone that's been in front of us for quite a while. And that milestone seems more within reach and grasp for at this stage. And so we're starting to look at what happens after that. You know, we're going to all wake up and have that completed. But what the business plan talks about is the next steps in order to advance the program. That includes geotechnical investigations, which is sort of the critical path item in Pacheco Pass to get us from the Central Valley to San Jose and the Bay Area, as well as advancing the design work so we can do better right-of-way mapping, starting to really understand the risks, the various sets of agreements that we will need, both with jurisdictions as well as with utilities and other partners, and then of course getting into the pre-construction activities that'll ultimately allow us to build this stretch of the system. Next slide, please. And this going to a few different directions, but also highlighting some new opportunities that the business plan lays out. So just before the inauguration, the governor sent a letter to then President-elect, now President Biden, really highlighting areas for potential partnership between the state and the federal government. Among the list of things, of course, COVID was high on the list, an opportunity, and I think we've seen some of that successful partnership. But high-speed rail was a clear priority for infrastructure between sort of what California is and where what we understand of priorities from the federal government. And then if you go to the next slide, please. And we've seen sort of positive response back over the last month and a half that the new administration has been in office. So when we released the plan, there was a really positive statement from the acting director of the Federal Railroad Administration, Namid Bose. The transportation secretary was on television talking about the need to invest in rail and that this country has been settling for less for too long. And then we've sort of started to engage on some of our immediate priorities with the new administration. So focusing on just restoring the federal partnership where we've had effectively radio silence and lawsuits with the previous administration. We now have almost daily conversations with the new one. We are asking them to reobligate federal year 10 grant that the previous administration had tried to take away. And I know the mayor had joined several other mayors in writing a letter in support of that action. So we certainly want to say thank you for that. And then we will be asking for some delivery schedule flexibility in terms of especially the construction work in the Central Valley, where we could use a little bit more time to do things a little bit better and make better business decisions if we don't have a gun to our head on a federal deadline that frankly was challenging before COVID and is even more challenging now. And then this last bullet, of course, we see kind of the changes in the administration and in Congress and a lot of new and increased conversation around potential federal investment in electrified high-speed rail. That's a conversation that's still mostly in front of us, but we are certainly optimistic that that seems to be a bigger priority as it fits very well with the Build Back Better agenda that the Biden administration had touted during the campaign and in their early actions in office. Next slide, please. And then I think just to close a little bit here, I think I have maybe one more after this, but the business plan, of course, lays out all of our costs and funding projections. So from the sources that we have already, we estimate that there's roughly 20 to 23 billion available to the project through 2030. The estimate to complete the Merced to Bakersfield line to get into service and make those other statewide investments like Caltrain electrification contributions, like our advancement through environmental clearance and the next steps in project development in Northern California. The budget for that is roughly in the 21 to also 23 range. So those seem to line up well. Of course, there's multi-year forecasts, so we'll see how those shape out. But the authority will be seeking the remaining Proposition 1A funds from the legislature this year. That's about $4 billion that we'll need in order to complete the construction work in the Central Valley, get that line electrified and into service. And if you go to the next slide, please. Just as part of that process, we have to, Prop 1A has multiple approval steps and actions that are required in order to use the funds. So we've started that process with the board approving a funding plan that would seek that appropriation. That'll be incorporated into the governor's budget in May. Ultimately, the budget will be determined by the legislature in the June timeframe. We do have hearings coming up in the Assembly and Senate Transportation Committees, along with their relevant budget subcommittees on March 10th and March 16th, respectively. So there is going to be lots more conversation about both how we advance the program and, of course, input from policymakers on the funding ask that we have in front of them. And I think that's my last slide. Oh, sorry, one more. Just ways to comment on the business plan. I'm not going to go into every one, but there are multiple ways that we are taking input, of course.
Great. And as I mentioned, we're going to switch over to Bernice Alanese with the Valley Transportation Authority and to talk about the BART Silicon Valley Phase 2 project. So Bernice, the floor is yours.
Great, thank you. We can go to the next slide. And my role in the BART Silicon Valley program is Director of External Affairs, so working very closely with city partners and all of our stakeholders. So I'm happy to present an update and a little bit of background for those of you who aren't as familiar with the project yet. So the BART Silicon Valley program is a program of which we've phased to extend the regional BART rail system into Santa Clara County. Phase 1 extension, 10 miles, 2 stations, and we began service June of 2020. The current project we're working on is the Phase 2 extension. That is 6 miles with a 5-mile tunnel, 4 stations, and then 2 mid-tunnel ventilation and emergency egress facilities, as well as the Santa Clara Station and New Hall maintenance facility. And we can go to the next slide. So give you a little bit of background on the Berryessa station. I know many of you aren't out and about as much as you might be. So just wanted to show some visuals of the Berryessa station and Milpitas station that opened up in June. Both of the stations include bus transit centers, secure bicycle parking. We have parking structures with paid vehicle parking, and then shuttle drop-offs. We've been tracking ridership. As you know, none of us expected COVID-19 to hit right around the time of this opening, but we do have a small but steady ridership, and hopefully as everyone sort of resumes a more form of normalcy, those ridership numbers will be going up on the opened Phase 1 Berryessa extension. Next slide, please. This is our Phase 2 project, and wanted to give you a little idea of where the alignment is. The Phase 2 project begins right where the Berryessa North San Jose tail tracks are, up in the Berryessa Northeast area of San Jose. Our first station is the 28th Street Little Portugal station, and the track configuration will be side by side getting into that 28th Street Little Portugal station. It is a cut and cover station that we will be building. It'll have an above ground presence with below ground boarding. And we own a significant amount of property, or we'll be acquiring a significant amount of property around that station, and are working on what types of appropriate transit-oriented development will occur. We have done transit-oriented community strategy studies to really maximize utilization of these stations and really contribute towards building less car-reliant communities. As we enter into that small box where you see the 13th Street Mid-Tunnel facility, the trains still continue side by side, and at that facility, they transition from a side-by-side configuration to a stacked configuration. And then our downtown San Jose, this stacked configuration allows us to basically do that downtown station development like any other off-street development. There will be like these adit tunnels that go from the station to the actual tunnel, and most of that construction work at the downtown station will be off-street. The stacked trains then continue on to the Diridon station, and then we make another transition into our mid-tunnel facility at Stockton, where the trains go side by side again, and then we end up in Santa Clara at the New Hall Rail Yard, where we'll be storing trains and doing maintenance on the trains. And we can go to the next slide. So we are participating in the FTA's Expedited Project Delivery Pilot Program. This is a new federal funding program, and the intent of this program is to really streamline the process to seek federal funds. And there were some very specific requirements for this program. And VTA was one of 8 projects, the BART Silicon Valley project, to express interest in this project. And as of today is the only project that's currently been in the program. We have submitted an application for this program in January. We, in the meantime, have received 2 allocations for the program. We received $125 million in August of 2019, and then an additional $100 million in January. So a total of $225 million has been allocated through the EPD program. And then you may have all heard some of the news in the current COVID relief program. We've been allocated, recommended to receive approximately $141 million, and that would not be a part of this financing. Our full request is about $1.7 billion through this program. This would be part of the, to offset some of the strain on local funds. So it would go towards our 75% share of local funds. I think we can go to the next slide, please. This is the framework to completion for the project, and this really is how we're proceeding with our contracting strategy. If you look at the green check marks, those are the aspects of the basically procurement process that we've completed. We started off the procurement process with a request for industry feedback, and this was an opportunity to share with the contracting community what our strategy was for this project, which utilizes a large single bore tunnel in that portion where I had talked about the tracks being side by side, and then transitioning into the stack configuration. So we got some feedback, and then we have just issued our first request for qualifications. That is that first purple bar just at the end of the year. That was for the tunnel and track work contract. And our next set is to do a request for qualifications for our stations contract. We'll then move into the RFP process, as you can see, beginning later in this year. And then with early construction work slated to begin sometime in 2022. Construction will be approximately 6 years. And then we are allowing about 2 years for our system testing and integration with service planned for 2030. And we can go to the next slide. Thank you. These are our contracting plans. Those check marks were for each of the 4 contracts. We are doing 4 large contracts. The first contract, we call it CP1, is our systems contract. Those are all the communications and infrastructure that actually the system operates on. The largest and main contract is a tunnel and track work contract that's being delivered through progressive design build. There's many advantages to this because we gain the experience and knowledge of the progressive design builder and are able to capitalize on some of the newest in innovation. That contract includes the tunnel and track work. It includes those mid-tunnel facilities I had mentioned, those vent structures at 13th Street and Stockton, all the demolition and site work, those adits that I talked about that connect the actual tunnel to those underground stations, and utility relocations as required. CP3, as we call it, is the new hall yard in Santa Clara Station. That contract is design build, so the design will be advanced slightly further. That facility includes the yard and maintenance, line and track, the actual Santa Clara Station, as well as a parking structure, garage for up to 500 spaces, and storage for all those tracks where the trains will be stored at night. CP4 is our stations contract, and it includes the 3 stations, the 28th Street Little Portugal, downtown in Diridon, as well as parking. Initially 1,200, that could be incorporated as part of the transit-oriented development. And it also includes the streetscape and final site work at all those station areas. And next slide, please. We have created, as you may be aware, the Santa Clara Valley Transportation Authority, VTA, is the designer, secured the funding, will be building the project and own the infrastructure, but BART will be operating the system ultimately. So what we've done is we've created a rail system organization, and we have 2 rail system officers, one from BART and one from VTA, and they are working side by side, ensuring that as we progress in the design, that everything is in concert with BART and the ultimate operating configuration. Each of these books that you see are really for each of those 4 contracts, and they have incorporated into them all of the requirements that ensure a very coordinated effort between BART's system requirements and what VTA is building. So it really is streamlining the efforts and ensuring that rather than BART needing to review things, they're actually at the table from the very beginning, contributing to the requirements for the project. And next slide, please. Part of our application for this EPD program was that we would have a public-private partnership. There were 3 requirements for the EPD pilot program, and those were to have a public-private partnership, that there would be a 25% cap on the federal funds, and that the future operator would be an existing operator, and that will be BART. Our P3, which we executed in October, is with Google, and it includes air right entitlements above the future Diridon's BART station. It also includes parking replacement for current parking that we have at the lot that we'll use for construction staging. And then also it allows us to use one of the parking lots to do our construction staging during construction. Next slide, please. A very important element is our construction outreach management program. And there are 3 components to that. There is the construction education and outreach plan, we call it the CEOP, and that is all of the things that we do to make sure that all of the stakeholders, whether they're immediately adjacent to the project, the cities, individuals living, businesses, that they are considered and that we understand their needs as we proceed in construction of this project. The construction transportation management plan is coordinating all the circulation and access needs during construction, and we'll be incorporating all this information into the contract documents. We've been out seeking information, and we'll be vetting some of this plan information through the city of San Jose to ensure that we've captured everything that we need to. We'll be doing an initial early kind of high level construction transportation management plan, and then the final plan will be done in coordination with the ultimate progressive design builder and design builders. The other third part is the emergency services coordination plan, and that is where we ensure that all the local emergency services have access to make sure that they're able to respond during an emergency. Next slide, please. We are implementing a business resource program, and as such, we have just completed a assessment of the businesses. It has been challenging to do that during COVID because these are unprecedented circumstances. And once we complete this, we will now develop a plan to put together to ensure that we are working collaboratively with the businesses and really being cognizant of all of the needs. So we've completed that small resource study. That's the fall 2019 bar right there. And now we are working on actually starting to prepare the plan that we will implement during construction to ensure that small businesses have the resources, whether they be technical, whether they be advertising, whether they be signage. So taking all of the data that we've gleaned from the businesses, that's how we'll develop that plan, and then we'll implement that plan prior to construction. And I believe that's my last slide. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Bernice. So I'm going to switch back to Ken Ronci from VTA. This is our last presentation for the day, and then we'll take comment and any questions on all 3 of the projects. But Ken, please take it from here.
Great, thank you, Jessica, and welcome, or thank you for having me, committee members. I'm going to round out the trio of rail projects. My project, though, is much smaller than the other 2, but it's no less important, and it's no less impactful to the community, both in good ways, and then you'll see some of the project activities that are coming up that we need to make sure there's good coordination for. So I'm going to start with just a quick brief overview of the project. This is an extension of our current light rail system. At the end of the line now at Alum Rock, we're going to continue light rail about 2.5 miles to Eastridge. We will be using the median for most of the way, but not totally we will go side running. Why? So that we have an at-grade station platform for between light rail and the new transit center at Eastridge. We'll be using an elevated guideway the entire corridor. And the next slide, if you go to that, will show the profile. The photo on the upper right is in the city of San Jose. It's right at the border of San Jose and Milpitas at Lundy, and it's an aerial guideway. This is very, very similar, cast in place concrete box girder that we are proposing along Capitol Expressway. The alignment along Capitol Expressway will be completely grade separated. We will be grade separated at all the intersections. That's Capitol, Story, Ocala, Cunningham, and Tully. The reason for this is that it minimizes traffic impacts with permanent left turn lane closures and that kind of thing. This is the best way to do that. It allows clean operations with no conflict between either pedestrians or automobiles and light rail. So it's the best operational, and it is the most convenient way to integrate light rail into the community. However, there are some elements about it that deserve some discussion, and we'll talk about those in the near term with you here in the next slides. So next slide. To help understand what the corridor looks like, we've prepared a series of photo simulations and renderings. So if we are starting at the end of the line at Alum Rock, so the existing end of the line is to the right of this photo simulation, light rail will rise up out of the at-grade alignment on a retained fill in order to transition from Capitol Avenue that you see here into Capitol Expressway that is to our left. So we will be fully grade separated over the on-ramp, if you will, onto Capitol Expressway and then into the median. So next slide. That configuration continues all the way up in the air through through Story Road with an elevated light rail platform. That elevated light rail platform will have 2 pedestrian overcrossings. Each of them are on the south side. So when you're looking at this, Alum Rock is to our left, Eastridge is to our right. So both of the overcrossings are on the south side. The good thing about this overcrossing is it will allow people who are accessing the light rail platform to do so without any crossing tracks or traffic. It also will allow folks that want to avoid the expressway and not go to light rail. You can still use this. So this is a safety value for the community, not only for those using the platform, but those who want to just be able to travel across without any conflict with traffic. The next slide. This slide shows the same location with photo simulation. So this is, both of these photo simulations are at Story. They show the elevated guideway with the pedestrian overcrossings to your right. On the top slide, the bottom slide shows if you are going westbound on Story Road, you will be going underneath the platform. So if you were to orient this to a current station in our system, you can think of Great Mall, Main, and Milpitas. So this will be very similar to that configuration. While there's only 1 pedestrian overcrossing at that location, this will have 2. And the location will be in this alignment right through Story Road. So this is a very important component of the system. It is the only station between the 2 either current station and end of the line. So it's very, very important. Next slide. The last station at the end of the line is at Eastridge. As I said before, we're mainly in the median of Capitol Expressway until we get to Tully. At Tully, we go side running in order to arrive at an at-grade end of the line station at Eastridge. This station at Eastridge is very important. It connects light rail to bus transit center, to shopping at Eastridge, and pedestrian improvements along the expressway. So this truly is a hub. It's a transit hub for VTA, and it's intended to be integrated nicely into the existing connection there at Eastridge. Next slide. This slide shows what the location looks like at the Eastridge station, both in a photo simulation and in a rendering. So the photo simulation on the top shows the orientation for the new light rail. There will be 2 platforms in order to allow light rail, or a large platform that would allow light rail with multiple tracks to go through the staging area, the pickup area for pedestrians, and it will have an end of the line storage track. So what you see on the left side of the upper photograph is storage tracks. And then because we are going from aerial to at grade, and then we need to be continue to at grade on the way to the entrance to East Ridge Mall, there is slight grade difference, and we're arriving to that slight grade difference with stairways and an ADA accessible ramp. So we wanted to show how the transit center that's on the left of that bottom photo will access light rail, which is on the right side. Next slide, please. So now what is the stage of the project, and what are the upcoming activities? We are currently in final design, and we're reaching the end of that here in early this year, 2021. We expect to have a bid package ready to begin to be prepared for advertisement early this year. We are continuing right-of-way acquisition. We've started that already. It's mainly done. We've acquired most of the properties. Only a couple properties are remaining. So we expect to complete that this summer. Utility relocation is complete with engineering. We are in the process of getting those lined up with permits to begin construction. Most of this is along the expressway, so they're county permits. And we will see utility relocation beginning as early as a couple months from now, and all the way to beginning into next or to later in the summer. When I say beginning, the next slide will show the variety of utility relocations and what I mean by that. If we stay on that slide real quick, Jessica, I'm sorry. We wanted to highlight two things though. One thing is that the project is mainly Measure A funding. That's all appropriated and with the project. However, there is a large component of regional Measure 3 funds, $130 million, that is not Measure A. We have already secured the SB1 funds. There's some other funding that we've already secured for $15 million. The one item that is yet to be available to us is the RM3 funds. So while the engineering package is complete in early 2021, and while we will have construction documents ready to begin preparing the advertising package, we are not going to advertise for light rail construction until the RM3 funds are available. Currently, the RM3 funds are being reviewed by the California Supreme Court. There is a challenge against these funds. The regional Measure 3 funds are actually a bridge toll fee, and there's a challenge that was really a tax and not a fee. So the California Supreme Court is reviewing that, or it's on their docket. They have not started reviewing it yet, and we're not sure when they will. There's another case that they're evaluating first that they think will set precedents for this. So because it's unclear as to when that could start, it could be resolved as late this year. And so because of that, we are posturing ourselves to be ready to advertise, but we will not be advertising until the RM3 funds are available. So that's the one thing we wanted to highlight. On the next slide, we wanted to just highlight, when we talk about the utility work that is beginning, what we mean by that. So today, if you were to go out on the corridor, you will see construction happening right now at Story Road and Capitol Expressway. And that construction is abatement for a building that we acquired that we will be removing, and we are preparing for some utility relocation. So we're doing that utility prep work right now, as of today. And so we're clearing the way for 4 different types of utility relocation. They're on the list here. What I wanted to highlight that is because there are one set of utility relocation that's really substantial, and it's the relocation of what is now PG&E, high voltage transmission lattice towers to poles. And so that work, there's a range of when it could be. It will be beginning as early as April, pending property acquisition, or as late as August or September if we need to go through eminent domain proceedings. So when we talk about the range, that's the reason that we're talking about these ranges. You'll also see some significant work. We will see a large water line, a San Jose water line, to be relocated down the median of the expressway. So you will see come this summer, you'll start to see the beginning of what construction will look like for light rail. It's worth knowing, though, that that utility relocation is a precursor to what we will be doing for the larger light rail construction. So because of that, we've made a lot of effort to make sure that the community understands what's happening, and not just what's going to happen, but why it's happening. So we have established a stakeholder working group. The stakeholder working group has members from District 5, District 8 that run along this corridor. There's school district representation, and there's business representation. And what we've been doing is we've been walking through with them on a quarterly basis, and we will do it more often if required, to show them exactly not just what's happening, but why it's happening. So for example, we met late last week at our regular meeting and described what construction process looks like. Why? So they know what area we need for the construction area and what's available for traffic. That way we're bringing them along in an exchange of dialogue, so they're not only informed, but they are well informed. And so it's worth knowing that we are conducting those regular meetings, and we will be working with city staff to present any feedback from that group and any actions that come from that. Next slide. So this is something that we presented to the stakeholder working group just last week. And so what the scenario here is, and the challenge is that when we originally designed the contract and got environmental clearance in 2018, we expected to take about 150 trees from the corridor. And that was just along the whole alignment for different variety of reasons, widening the roadway, shifting the alignment, that kind of thing. In addition to that, we have identified that what you see on your screen here is that the relocation from the lattice towers from the median to poles on the outside of the roadway, on the east side of the roadway, that's relocating 10 of those poles, those towers to poles, that we have trees underneath them in the current condition. So the rendering on the right, those trees in there are actual real trees. They are installed today on the expressway. Well, those trees, as of 2018, after we did our environmental clearance, are no longer allowed to be there per PG&E's Green Book standards. So resulting from the fires in Northern California, PG&E has established a new standard that does not allow any trees within the easement area underneath a high voltage transmission line. Therefore, some trees will need to be removed, about 60 or 70 more trees. So the board for VTA will be entertaining an action item to amend our environmental document to include the removal of these trees. So what was 150 tree removal for the project is now about 220 tree removal. We will be mitigating the tree replacement, and the tree replacement will be mitigated to an amount that could reach as high as around 400 trees. So removing 150, replacing up to 400. We presented this at one of our committee meetings at our congestion management program and planning committee. One of the members of that committee is Member Perales, who was on this committee, and he had asked us to follow up and evaluate if we could make a very tight corridor. In other words, mitigate them in an area close to this corridor. We've since met with our city forest, and we believe we can do that. We believe that within a 1 mile swath on each side of the expressway, we can replace and mitigate all of the trees. And so we're working to that regard. We're also evaluating if these trees can be planted in the median at any particular places. There's not a lot of space and there's some challenge, but we're going to evaluate that. And we're also going to reach out to the county to see if there's any possibility to include some of the trees within the expressway area. If the city is willing, we would also enjoy putting them in any street areas that would benefit the city. One of the earlier items talked about the heat from the pavement. This would be one way to mitigate some of that. So we're hoping that we will be able to use this mitigation and focus in this area. So the equity things that we talked about and the heat challenge things we talked about are respected with this project. So with that, I believe that's our last slide. I'll open it up to questions for the rest of the group.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll go to public comment first. Paul Soto.
Yes, Paul Soto from the Horseshoe. That's a lot of information to process. I'll try to. One of the gentlemen stated earlier with respect to the rail coming from down south. He was talking about endangered species. Okay, and I would go so far as to argue that the Chicano and the Mexicano are an endangered species with respect to COVID and the gentrification process that is right now naturally occurring within the context of San Jose. I would go so far as to argue for that we need to be protected as well. You know, and so, you know, while I sympathize with birds and I sympathize with the squirrel and the red-tailed hawk, you know, I also sympathize with my people on the east side of San Jose. You know, so I'd like to make that straight. The reason why we need racial equity within the context of transportation is that the Chicano and the Mexicanos are an endangered species. And within the confines of the redlined, marginalized sections of the city, 4 tracks are going to have to go through the Horseshoe. Let's be honest here. 4 tracks are going through the Horseshoe. You're going to knock down all the tracks because Dev Davis made sure that she got historical landmark protections for all of the houses on the Willow Glen side. On the Horseshoe side, 4 tracks got to go through. And the Deradon station, the brick station, that's out. That's got to go. It's got to go. You can't fit 4 tracks there with that because there's going to be 400 trains that are going through there. My research is sound. It's solid. It can't be challenged. What I want to know is what is going to be done about it. What is going to be done about that? Where's the conversation with the people in the Horseshoe who are going to be gentrified out of that area via eminent domain? You guys are going to buy up all those properties and tell them, you know what, get out. Thank you for working in the canneries, but get out and get out now. You know, so really, we need to really sit down and talk about this and, you know, have a conversation. Some feelings are going to get hurt, but, you know, drink some water. We'll be all right. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Roland.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The only thing I want to say about high-speed rail is give you a little bit of a history. My great-grandfather was the chief engineer for the line between 800 miles between Beijing and Wuhan. He built that line in 7 years with $25 million entirely in private capital. He didn't have to deal with COVID. However, he had to deal with the boxers who ripped 150 miles of track after killing 10,000 railway workers. Boris's former company, Parsons Mrika Hawk, was supposed to build the other half of the line. That never happened. The Chinese ended up building it themselves. Moving on to the BART project. Phase 1 was 3 years late, approximately $1.5 billion over budget. They're running at 4% of projections, ridership, with a subsidy of $300 per passenger. Phase 2 is now at $6.9 billion. It's not designed. The reason they're doing progressive design build is because they're going to get environmental clearance after some of the elements are designed. It's also not funded. It's currently got a $3 billion gap consisting of $2 billion in Measure A funds, $1 billion of Measure B funds, and something that Bernie didn't mention that Mr. Rossi did, is that the $375 million in R&P fund are not there either. Moving on to the light rail extension. The costs are approximately $200 million per mile, but that is only 20% of the cost of BART. So if you think logically and replace the existing light rails with trains capable of doing 70 miles an hour, we could potentially have the system just as good as BART for approximately 20% of the cost. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Diego. Looks like he put his hand down. Next speaker is Blair.
Hi, thank you. To try to go on with my Miles Davis voice today. Paul Soto's words were really interesting. I'm hopeful that if the CHSR comes through San Jose, it will only need the 2 tracks. And with the possibility of 4 tracks in another 20, 30, 40 years. it's important to emphasize the 2 tracks coming to San Jose at first. It's also important to emphasize that I think Governor Newsom is making clear that the high-speed rail needs to be on time, it needs to be moving. And so they're building it from LA to Merced, to Stockton, to Sacramento. And I hope we can learn to be clear about that. The next question is, how do we bring that to San Jose or to Alameda County? Now, that's the real question. And I don't think that's going to be happening, it seems like, until maybe the 2030s or 40s. So we are in a wait time right now, and to work out our issues with Alameda County. Now, to work with the MTC is incredibly important at this time. And also there can just be, it is okay for San Jose to hang back a bit. They have a certain lead in how to work with this issue. And it doesn't have to be a competitive process with Alameda County. I hope it can be open, talk about it. And about the ideas of light rail, the AV project for the light rail, please be considering electric buses and their transit stops and their transit hubs, electric charging stations. That's important work along with the AV. All of this can work together.
Thank you. And it looks like we have Diego back. Diego? Diego, if you want to speak.
Hello.
Good, we got you.
Okay. I just want to voice my opinion on you guys' work. I appreciate a lot what you guys done. I heard stories from my brother. He grew up with VTA from Capitol Light Rail Station, and now I get to experience growing up with BART, which is really such a privilege. And I am really excited for these big projects to come ahead of us, especially the extension of VTA. And on the high-speed rail, it is an expensive project, but we're going to be like the first ones to do it, high-speed rail. And it is going to be expensive, but it's going to be a big impact here in the Bay Area, especially. And I just hope that you guys will fight for that. And I'm looking forward for the high-speed rail to come to San Jose. Thank you.
Thank you. And turning to the committee, I hope you all saw my email reminder that we were doing the regional quarterly activities report. And if you have questions for the committee or for the staff, the presenters, go ahead and raise your hand. And I'd also love if you have an update from one of the committees you sit on. Councilmember Perales.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. I did see that this time, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate the presentations as well from all the agencies. And thank you to VTA staff for mentioning that you had reached out to our city forest to work out the replanting of the additional trees that have been lost. I do appreciate that. I think that focusing it in a really narrow corridor there where the trees are being displaced is what is fair and just. And so I think that that's what we need to strive to do. And so I'm glad that you were able to get that response. I also, through the Congestion Management Committee, have brought up some concerns with some of our platforms in the downtown core. That's work coming through CMPP there as well. Both of those issues just as of late. So, but that was the VTA side of things. I do want to just mention a little bit about, you said on the Capital Corridor Joint Powers Authority as well. And there is a South Bay Connect project, phase 2 of it, which is Oakland to San Jose. And this work is preparing a 2-year environmental design that is going to begin in, well, it began February. And it's really looking at creating more opportunities for connections between San Jose and Sacramento. There's a lot of work going on there, and some of the biggest efforts are in regards to the rail line that goes through Alviso. And there is a significant efforts going on right now. Studies just concluded on alternatives. This area where the railroad goes through wetlands is a difficult area to traverse, and moving rail line there is not easy, but looking at the concerns with sea level rise, Alviso is already the lowest point in the entire San Francisco Bay Area, being 13 feet below sea level. And so we need to be thinking ahead, and if we want to increase rail traffic here, that is really the sticking point. And so that work is going on through Capital Corridor, which is very positive, and I'm helping to usher that along because that's a major benefit to the city of San Jose. That's it. Thank you, Chair. And I'll move to approve the report as well.
Second.
Thank you. Do any other members of the committee have verbal reports they want to give? If not, I have one. I sit on the Caltrain Joint Powers Board. I'm the chair this year, as I think many of you know. And there are a couple of things in the memo already about Caltrain. The Measure RR passed. It's a 1/8 cent sales tax that goes across 3 counties. So that's San Francisco, San Mateo, and Santa Clara counties. And that will enable us to do longer term capital and operations planning for Caltrain, in addition to ensuring that Caltrain will continue to exist this year, with ridership being down over 90%, so from COVID. And also the electrification project is continuing, and we have been experiencing some impacts from COVID because we had some work is being done by people in Europe, and so there were travel issues. And then also one of the plants in Utah that's putting together the train sets had some issues with COVID cases, and they also had to, because of distancing, had to shift to basically a 24-hour operation as opposed to a regular shift operation. So I anticipate there will be an updated timeline in the next couple of months. So Jessica, just so you know, the one in the memo is probably not gonna be able to be true. The other updates is that Jim Hartnett is the director of not only Caltrain, but also Samtrans and then the San Mateo County Transit Authority, and he has announced his retirement for April of this year. And Samtrans, which is in charge of, is the managing agency for Caltrain, named the COO, Michelle Bouchard, to be the interim director of Caltrain only. So Caltrain, for the first time, will have its own head of agency that is dedicated just to the head of that agency. And that's kind of happening along the same time that Caltrain is working on governance issues and potentially looking at this year, we're going to be doing 4 public workshops about the governance structure, and hopefully by the end of the year, the end of the calendar year, be choosing a new potential governance structure for Caltrain. And even before that, right now, we're moving forward with hiring an independent counsel, again, for the first time, that would report directly to the Caltrain Joint Powers Board and be dedicated just to Caltrain. So those are all the updates for Caltrain. There's quite a lot happening with that board. And I think, Councilmember Perales, your hand is still up. Did you have another comment?
I'm sorry, no, I forgot to put it down.
No problem. I just wasn't sure. And so with that, I don't see any other hands from my committee members, so we can take a vote.
Foley,
Aye.
Perales,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Our next agenda item is open forum. And it looks like we have one member of the public who would like to speak. Paul Soto.
Yes, I want to thank you, Councilman Perales, for your articulation of the necessity for the racial equity framework being applied and articulated specifically, why it was needed, what principles or goals that are aligned with the racial equity were applied, and what that particular outcome was with respect to the resources, and a line-by-line detailed analysis of that application, which is why the expansion of that office is so vitally necessary, because if we're going to be leaning on Sulma to do the work, that is an enormous, enormous amount of work that is being laid squarely on the shoulders of that office. We need to back that up with the resources.
Gina, we can see your email.
Go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
Anyways, yeah, that's fine. So we really need to do that. We really need to start supporting that with our dollars. You see, because I'm reading through my father's documents, and he's stating that let me see, older cousin Freddie having to dig outhouse holes outside in Salsipuedes. He's also talking about his fears. In 1943, he feared the shadows on the army tents because the tents that they lived in Salsipuedes were army tents. And one of my father's earliest fears was the shadows that were cast on the outside of the tent while he was living in Salsipuedes, in this city. So I have just a wealth of documentation that my father had written, who is still alive. He's 79. And it just, we really need to start getting used to these kinds of conversations. And so I appreciate what you stated, Councilman Perales, with respect to the transportation, but I think the overall allocation and solvency, ensuring the solvency of the Racial Equity Office is vitally and critically important, not only to the offices and to the city of San Jose, but also to ourselves, because it reflects our.
Thank you. The next speaker is Roland. Can we make sure there's a timer up, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I can see a timer, but I couldn't see one when Paul was talking. So we just heard that you apparently issued some kind of internal memo to the rest of the committee. That memo is not on the website, so I'll be issuing a PRA immediately to realize what the contents of that memo are. I suspect that you directed staff to basically dump those three items together and then take 2 minutes of public comment at the end of the day. If that is the case, I want to bring to your attention, I already did at the last Catherine board meeting. This is no longer acceptable. We are going to start taking action to remedy the matter. And if what it takes is to have a commercial that starts with the sound of broken glass every time people who live in San Jose click on YouTube video, that's exactly what's going to happen. Except that this time, instead of basically crucifying a potentially council member, we will be looking at a potential recall. Thank you.
Next speaker is Blair.
Hi, thank you. To try to once again summarize my ideas and feelings from the special city council meeting on COVID-19 last week, as I stated last week, maybe there is a way to have important public study sessions around items of equity in the future, simply not under the COVID-19 title. Yet it seems there is a balance all parts of the community may need to relearn from the study session. And the ideas of equity and positive sustainability is simply the language already often used in current local government efforts as COVID-19 continues. From all of this, for all of our honest, decent efforts towards good community practices, equity and reimagine at this time, I hope that at least we can all begin to more actively consider the term of positive sustainability and begin to more openly address large-scale social planning that does not have to include the harming of mass numbers of people to reach important ideas and goals for our future human society. For part two, I had a few questions. I had a few things remaining from that I wanted to ask about from that meeting. Can it begin to be more openly talked about if new, more portable HVAC systems to be placed in public schools at this time will have an aerosol vaccine capability? From this, I also feel there should be a non-pressured system for kids to attend school 2.5 hours a day, twice a week, with continued in-home learning. I feel this can be a sensitive beginning approach that can possibly offer something to all sides. Thanks a lot. Yeah, that's about all. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the record, the email was just a reminder to my committee members that they are welcome to do a verbal report during this time when we talk about quarterly transportation activities. The memo that I was referring to is on the website. I just confirmed that. It is under item D3, Regional Transportation Activities Quarterly Report. It has a memorandum. The memorandum's author is John Risto, and it contains the regional quarterly transportation activities, not just that were reported, but it includes other regional transportation bodies and projects. So that was what I was referring to when I was talking about the Caltrain report that was already in the memo. Thank you. With that, we are adjourned.